In the land of Hekeldotria, once known as Japan, a time of peace existed. But monsters suddenly appeared, turning 80% of the world into dangerous wilds, and humanity was granted roles. Most people awakened to one of 8 common roles such as warrior, monk, or merchant to survive. Beyond these, there were 3 special roles, considered to be gifts from the heavens themselves. These 3 legendary roles are revealed: the powerful king, the valiant hero, and the wise sage. The story focuses on the most common role. A villager father and son are cornered by a slime. The man, a member of the weakest role, sets his face in grim determination. From a distance, another young man watches the scene, calmly picking up a small stone. He grips the rock with incredible force, his muscles tensing for the throw. The stone is hurled through the air with impossible speed and power. With a surprising burst of force, the rock strikes the slime monster directly. The father and son scream in pure terror as the monster lunges at them. They brace for the inevitable, their faces frozen in fear as the creature descends. An explosion of light signifies the monster's defeat as the boy cries for his father. A mysterious figure asks if they are all right as coins rain down from the vanquished foe. The dark-haired young man kneels, calmly gathering the money and items left behind. The father and son can only stare, completely dumbfounded by what just happened. Their savior casually examines the loot he has collected from the ground. He pockets a coin with a soft clink, his movements unhurried and precise. Turning to the pair, he holds out a pouch and confirms that they seem to be okay. The father, a level 1 villager, stammers, asking how he defeated the monster by flicking a rock. The young boy accepts the pouch of loot, his eyes wide with surprise. The pouch is heavy with coins, each marked with the number 10. The young man explains that the 100 bronze from the slime is a gift for the boy. Leaning in close, he asks the boy if earning 100 bronze from a slime isn't amazing. The boy's head spins with excitement as he imagines all the things he can buy. The young man lists off sweets and toys, adding that a villager couldn't beat a green slime. With a gentle smile, the young man quietly thinks that it's a waste and he'll get the money back. As the stranger begins to walk away, the father calls out, asking who he is. The father's mind races, wondering if this impossibly strong person could be a hero. The young man gives a casual wave over his shoulder as he departs. The father and son's faces suddenly contort in expressions of absolute shock. A status screen reveals the unbelievable truth. He is Koji Kagami, a level 999 villager. The impossible truth is proclaimed in a burst of shock. A level 999 villager. The young man in question, Kagami, touches his chin in quiet contemplation. He walks through the bustling, free city of Valmon, casually eating a snack. In the city, a crowd gathers, questioning why monsters must be eliminated. People look up toward a stage, pondering the necessity of fighting monsters. A man in the crowd shouts, demanding to know why children must wield swords. The hero passionately declares they fight because of the demon tribe's existence. Unimpressed, some onlookers grumble that the speech is just a noisy nuisance. 2 men watch the hero's party, one wistfully wishing he could join them. His friend scoffs, reminding him that a mere villager cannot become stronger. As they leave, Kagami privately agrees that a normal life is for the best. He resolves to finish his quest quickly, anticipating a sushi dinner. The scene transitions to a darker, more ominous setting. The entrance to the foreboding ancient cavern looms before him. Inside, a hulking level 93 blue devil lets out a ferocious roar. With a determined shout, Kagami clenches his fist, ready for battle. He lunges forward, connecting a powerful punch with the beast's torso. Surrounded by loot, he notes the unusual abundance of monsters today. Spotting more creatures, he dismisses them, knowing they will simply regenerate. He reflects that thanks to the monster swarm, his quest is progressing quickly. With a confident grin, he smashes another monster, making quick work of it. He checks his quest paper, wondering how many more foes remain. Seeing another potential target, he sprints deeper into the cavern. Elsewhere, the hero is locked in his own fierce battle. The hero lets out a cry of pure, unadulterated frustration. He complains to his party that his targeted blue devil was stolen. Kagami runs, determined not to let his own objective be taken away. His face contorts in shock as he makes a sudden realization. He has found his target, a group of blue devils standing together. A powerful kick defeats a monster, yielding a rare blue devil's horn. Checking his quest, he realizes he can finish early despite the monster swarm. He daydreams about the non-conveyor belt sushi he plans to eat for dinner. His thoughts are shattered as he spots a small, cloaked figure nearby. Deep within a cavern, a young man named Kagami spots a small, cloaked figure. He watches the girl walk away, wondering if she has gotten herself lost. His face registers surprise at finding a child in such a dangerous place. From a distance, Kagami calls out, warning her that monsters are swarming the area. Ignoring him, the girl calmly walks toward two massive, brutish monsters. Kagami is stunned as she passes between the beasts without drawing their attention. One of the confused monsters simply wonders aloud if the girl is asleep. The moment Kagami approaches, however, a monster turns on him with a hostile growl. He swiftly dodges an attack, confirming the creature's aggression is directed at him. With a single punch, Kagami fells the beast, annoyed that it only reacted to him. After defeating the monster, he resolves to follow the mysterious child. 5 minutes later, Kagami thinks he has lost her in the winding stone corridors. Suddenly, his expression turns to one of pure shock as he is startled. Another monster lunges from the shadows and Kagami counters with a powerful punch. Two more beasts roar menacingly, their sharp, jagged teeth on full display. Kagami complains in frustration about the overwhelming number of monsters present today. A piercing scream echoes from a nearby archway, causing him to spin around. His expression turns serious as he recognizes the child's distressed cry. Realizing it must be the girl from before, he sprints toward the sound. His chase leads him into a vast open chamber with tall, cracked architecture. A tight close-up reveals the hero's eye, filled with determination and anger. There, the hero Rex confronts the defiant cloaked girl before a stone altar. His party stands behind him, their faces grim as he questions the child's presence. The hero takes a firm, decisive step forward, his boot striking the stone floor. The entire party approaches the small girl, who stands alone in the massive room. Rex roars, demanding to know what she is doing in this sacred place. The girl's eyes fill with tears as she lets out a small, desperate cry for her father. The ground erupts around her as the hero unleashes a devastating, explosive attack. Just then, a foot skids to a hard stop on the stone floor. In a blur of motion, Kagami throws himself between the hero and the child. An immense expression of shared shock erupts from everyone present. The hero's face is frozen in a brief, triumphant smile just before the intervention. A final close-up shows the girl's wide, astonished eye reflecting the impossible scene. The blonde man glares furiously, a terrified girl gasping in shock behind his shoulder. Standing protectively, a dark-haired young man angrily demands to know why the adventurers are ganging up on a child. When asked who he is, he looks away, wondering how to answer. He simply introduces himself as a passing villager named Koji Kagami. The hero's companion shouts in disbelief, questioning how a mere villager could be so strong. She internally marvels that a villager managed to block their powerful attack. Looking at him with dawning comprehension, she says she now understands what he is. She pulls back the child's hood, revealing small horns and declaring her a demon. Kagami stands guard while the now exposed horned child clutches her head in distress. He thinks to himself that this was an expected turn of events. The child looks up at her protector, asking if he knew her identity. He demands the adventurers explain what they intend to do with the girl. The scene then flashes back, showing events from several hours earlier. A title card marks the beginning of Episode 002, The Ancient Abyss. In a fierce battle, the hero Rex clashes with a monstrous reptilian beast. His party, Nadia and Barna, comment on his impressive power and the sheer number of foes. Barna turns with concern, asking if the princess is all right. The sage Kururu is on her knees, panting and begging them to stop. Barna firmly tells the exhausted Kururu that they cannot afford to stop now. Kururu laments that today is the day they must fulfill their long-held ambition. A map shows their world, once vast, has been reduced to only 3 human countries. She sadly observes how small the human-inhabited world has become. Kururu passionately declares they must reclaim their once peaceful world from the Demon Lord. Standing with his back to them, Rex casually tells her she's being dramatic. Kururu is startled by his nonchalant use of her nickname, Kuchan. She asks what he is doing, his gaze fixed on something ahead. Rex holds up a hand, which begins to glow with a mysterious, magical light. He announces that he has found it as the light intensifies. A stone passage glows, revealing the path continues deep into the cavern. Barna asks if there is a way to defeat the Demon Lord ahead. The party looks on intently as Rex prepares to explain their next step. With a confident smile, he dramatically points upwards, ready to reveal his plan. He proclaims that the legendary Holy Sword sleeps here, equipable only by a level 90 hero. When Barna asks how he knows this, Kururu reveals she is the princess of this country. With a triumphant grin, Rex declares that their goal is now within reach. The scene transitions to show the events that transpired just before their arrival. The small hooded child is seen running frantically through the same chamber. Reaching the altar, she desperately searches for the sword she seeks. She collapses to her knees in despair, crying out that the sword is gone. Looking at the empty pedestal, she wonders why it's not there. A sudden sound startles her, and she demands to know who is there. The hero's party enters, and Kururu asks what the child is doing. Kururu gasps, sensing a powerful magical aura emanating from the small intruder. She declares with absolute certainty that there is no mistaking this magical power. Rex's expression hardens as he stares down the small, defiant girl. The child stands and boldly announces that she is a demon. Rex and his party recoil in shock at her stunning declaration. The child frantically accuses the demon of having stolen the holy sword. She looks bewildered, wondering how they could be in this special royal place. Rex retorts that it is indeed a special place belonging to the royal family. His eyes then catch sight of her horns, and Kururu tries to calm him down. The hero's confusion twists into a look of pure, unrestrained rage. With a furious roar, he lunges forward, yelling about what she is doing here. The small child screams as the ground erupts from his powerful attack. A foot slides into the frame, planting firmly between the attacker and the child. Kagami's arm reaches out, intercepting the hero's devastating blow. Rex is aghast, his powerful attack having been completely stopped. Kagami furiously yells at the party for ganging up on a child. The hero's party looks on, their faces a perfect picture of disbelief. As the dust settles, Kagami stands casually and asks who they are. He scratches his head, repeating his claim of being just a passing villager. Nadia points accusingly, shouting that a villager couldn't have blocked the attack. Kagami maintains his nonchalant pose, identifying his class simply as villager. Rex and his party are utterly dumbfounded, exclaiming that he's a real villager. Kururu concedes that she understands his identity now, but still can't believe it. She asks if he protected the child even knowing she was a demon. The child looks up at Kagami as Kururu insists she is a demon. The hero's party demands to know his intentions and asks him to explain himself. Kagami looks away, sweating slightly as he prepares to give his answer. His expression softens into a gentle smile as he places a hand on the child's head. Barna points out the obvious fact that the girl has horns. Kagami sheepishly dismisses the horns, claiming he made them himself. He insists they are just an accessory, gesturing awkwardly with his hands. With a shout, Kagami furiously carves into the large stone pedestal. He explains that he is processing the stone with a blue devil's horn. His party watches in shock as he forcefully works on the stone. Rex observes that the pedestal is a special one used to seal the holy sword. Kagami steps back from his work, explaining it's a substitute item for his arm. The small girl beside him looks up with a sad, lonely expression. Kagami wonders if she's lonely and if his absurd explanation will work. She looks down, a sad smile on her face, knowing a layman would believe him. The girl finds his ridiculous explanation amusing, while Rex questions her involvement. Kagami grins, declaring that his persuasive power is now ready. Rex steps forward, blocking their path with an accusatory finger. He furiously demands to know what Kagami was doing in this room with his sister. Rex shouts that it is impossible for two holy crests to disappear at once. His face is a mask of rage as he screams that it simply can't happen. Kagami calmly suggests that perhaps there was no holy crest there to begin with. Rex furiously proclaims that he is the hero, the chosen one. Kagami retorts that he is the only one qualified to possess it. He turns away looking sheepish as he prepares to make a confession. He admits that he found the sword first and sold it at a pawn shop. Rex's eye widens in pure, unadulterated shock at the news. The girl with the circlet shares his look of utter disbelief. The horned girl is equally stunned by the nonchalant confession. The entire party is frozen in horror at the incredible revelation. Rex stammers in disbelief, questioning if it was the royal holy sword. He asks Kagami about the royal holy sword, still unable to process it. He insists it's impossible, as only the hero can carry it due to a spell. Kagami concedes it was heavy, but explains he carried the whole pedestal. He turns to the pedestal, a wild idea forming as he dismisses Rex's words. A sudden idea strikes Koji Kagami as he braces himself against a massive stone pedestal. The pedestal explodes into a mountain of rubble with a deafening, earth-shattering crash. Kagami effortlessly hefts a huge slab of the broken stone over his head. The hero Rex and Princess Kururu stare upwards, their faces masks of utter disbelief. With wide, horrified eyes, Rex desperately asks about the mysterious villager's level. The party watches in shock as Kagami, confirmed to be level 999, stands amidst the wreckage. A diagram illustrates the fundamental rule. A level 90 hero must defeat a level 100 monster to level up. Rex recalls never hearing of a villager over level 30, as there's no reason for them to take such risks. He furiously demands to know how a mere villager reached a level even the legendary hero, capped at 253, could not. Kagami's gaze is intense and unreadable as he prepares to answer the hero's frantic question. He calmly suggests that it might be because he fought monsters every single day. Rex shouts in frustration, insisting he did the same, but Kagami dismissively says their efforts may have been equal. Kagami continues, stating that he has defeated far more monsters and trained much harder. His patience gone, Kagami explodes, screaming that this is simply reality and they should accept it. Taking his sister's hand, he announces their departure, leaving a stunned Rex behind. Rex calls out, questioning what Kagami plans to do with so much power, insisting he could defeat the Demon Lord. Kagami casually replies that he'd rather live a normal life and leave such tasks to the heroes. The hero is left completely speechless by Kagami's casual dismissal of his sacred duty. He confronts Kagami again, questioning the reason for his indifference. Kagami's expression is cool and enigmatic as he looks back at the hero. Rex's gaze is sharp as he delivers a cryptic statement. He tells Kagami that he still doesn't understand how the world truly works. The profound statement hangs in the air, a mystery to be unraveled. For the first time, Kagami is the one left completely shocked and speechless. Rex demands to know what he means, but Kagami simply calls out to him. Kagami's face is unreadable, giving no hint of what he knows. Rex is bewildered by Kagami's sudden knowing expression. The Princess Kururu nervously interjects, startling the preoccupied Kagami. She asks why he was in the dungeon, and he bows his head, asking her to overlook the matter of the Holy Sword. The witch formally invites him to join their party to defeat the Demon Lord together. The small horned girl glares with flushed cheeks at the unexpected invitation. Kagami, however, seems completely unconcerned by the offer. Holding his sister's hand, he flatly rejects the proposition. Kururu is aghast, asking why he would refuse when he has the power to achieve the impossible. Kagami's gaze is deadpan as he replies that he doesn't think he can do it. The hero's party is stunned by his complete lack of ambition. Kururu makes a desperate offer, promising to find the legendary sword for him if he joins. She presses on, asking if he desires fame, glory, or the chance to help suffering people. He admits he wants fame and glory but doesn't need it, and would help people if they were suffering. In a final gamble, the princess declares she will become his wife if he defeats the Demon Lord. Kagami is momentarily startled by this shocking, personal offer. He smiles, a new thought crossing his mind about acting for someone else's sake. But the moment passes, and he flatly refuses, leaving the princess in utter shock. As he walks away, he asks them to at least explain their reasoning. The hero's party states they don't see the subjugation as a chore and won't be helping him. His sister tells him not to worry, as this is just how her brother thinks. Kagami's gaze is sharp and knowing as he observes the party. The witch finds his reasoning unacceptable, but the rest of the party seems confused. She demands that he provide a proper explanation for his refusal. Kagami sighs, stating that he doesn't want to be ignored, and asks for a hint. A close-up on Kagami's eye reveals his intense focus and hidden knowledge. The Princess Kururu looks at him, recalling his words about helping those who are suffering. As Kagami and his sister walk down a long corridor, he asks if she thinks he's being selfish. The girl looks up at him, a question mark in her eyes, not understanding his meaning. The princess watches them go, remarking that they have left and that she doesn't understand this world system. She recalls the words he spoke to her, wondering about their true meaning. A close-up on her eye shows her deep contemplation, questioning what he truly knows. Rex's expression hardens as he states that, while he doesn't understand, one thing is clear. He clenches his fist, vowing that he must become stronger, even stronger than that villager. The scene fades to black, marking the end of the confrontation. Under a starry night sky, a desolate, rocky landscape is shown. Kagami stretches, realizing how late it has gotten. He sneezes from the cold, turning to his sister. He tells her it's getting cold and they should hurry home, but she stops him, looking worried. Her expression suddenly hardens with fierce resolve as she declares she's been looking for someone like him. Kagami is taken completely by surprise, pointing a finger at himself in utter confusion. He stammers, trying to form a response to her intense declaration. Standing amidst the ruins, she makes a stunning demand. She wants him to marry her. A flashback begins, showing a younger, smiling Kagami being called out to by a villager. The memory shifts to a less happy time, with villagers berating the boy for not helping with a monster's subjugation. He proudly declares that his level has gone up to 3, holding a rock as if it were a trophy. He is shown running away, determined not to be held back by his villager status. His young mind is filled with a single driving thought. He declares that monster subjugation is an incredibly profitable venture. A diagram illustrates that fighting monsters is not a typical role for a villager, who are usually farmers or craftsmen. He remembers the moment he learned the truth, delivering a powerful blow to a small monster. The memory recalls the realization that defeating monsters yielded a huge monetary reward. The allure of this easy money became an obsession for the young boy. He stands alone, pondering the nature of the monsters he hunts. Holding a coin, the young Kagami wonders why monsters drop money when they are defeated. Back in the present, the girl begins to speak, her face determined. She stands before Kagami, declaring that she has been searching for someone like him. Her eyes burn with intensity as she repeats her stunning demand for marriage. Kagami is utterly flabbergasted, his mind reeling from the proposal. He demands to know what a child of the demon race is doing in a place like this. The girl is taken aback, her determined facade cracking for a moment. A memory flashes through her mind of her father, collapsed and motionless. Her eyes widen as she relives the image of her fallen father. She touches her face, explaining her dire situation to a skeptical Kagami. With a pained expression, she reveals that her father is gravely ill, and a new hero is on a quest to kill him. Kagami processes this, asking if her father must be defeated by the hero with the sacred sword. The girl looks away, admitting that her father is indeed the demon lord. She begins to elaborate, her voice hesitant. Kagami presses her, his voice insistent, asking what her father is. She trails off, mumbling something about him being demon lord-like. The scene shifts to the quiet of the woods, emphasizing the weight of her confession. With a quiet sigh of resignation, she admits that he is the demon lord. Kagami's eye widens in pure shock at the unbelievable revelation. He lets out a shout of pure disbelief as the girl apologizes profusely. She is startled, asking if Kagami knows her father and if that's why he spared him. With a flustered expression, the young man thinks that it can't be helped if he is defeated. The small girl confronts him, demanding to know why he saved her, and pointing out that demon horns create monsters. From a distance, he argues that the horns are just something they are born with, not their fault. Her eyes widen as his words strike her with the force of a profound realization. Filled with a new, passionate resolve, she declares her desire to prove that humans and demons can coexist. He is visibly stunned by the raw power of her conviction. With a quiet, almost shy look, she concludes her plea by asking him to marry her. As they stand in the desolate woods, he turns away from her to deliver his clear response. A close-up reveals his cold, distant expression as he prepares to speak. He shatters her hope with a single flat statement, declaring that her dream is impossible. His words paint a grim picture of an endless, ingrained cycle of hatred between humans and demons. The girl clenches her fists, trying to interject and argue against his cynical worldview. He continues, adding that he knows plenty of humans who are no different from the monsters demons spawn. Defeated by his logic, she can only whisper in despair, her shoulders slumping. They stand apart in the quiet woods, a vast gulf of understanding separating them. He finishes his bleak assessment, stating that the world's very system is what is wrong. Stunned by his sad expression, she wonders why he looks so defeated. Her mind races, questioning what knowledge this person could possibly possess. She confronts him again, demanding to know why he chose not to kill her father. The quiet forest seems to echo his non-committal, dismissive hum. Walking away, he mutters that it's simply because he is a coward. Confused, she questions how being a coward could lead to such a decision. He continues to walk away, wondering aloud what kind of person he truly is. For a moment, she stands alone, contemplating her next move in the quiet woods. Her expression suddenly hardens with a new, unwavering resolve. With a firm step, she decides that she will not give up on him. She breaks into a determined run, chasing after his retreating figure up the wooded slope. Their journey finally brings them to the towering outer wall of the city of Valmon. He sighs in relief, glad to have finally arrived at his destination. Turning around, he asks with exasperation how far she intends to follow him. He questions if she expects him to buy her father's medicine in the city. With her cheeks puffed out, she shamefully admits that she has no money. A moment of quiet tension hangs over them before the imposing city wall. His expression shifts as he prepares to ask her a more serious question. He asks her directly why she isn't hateful towards humans. His eyes narrow as he presses her, wanting to know the reason why. Genuinely confused, she explains that hatred hasn't even begun to be a factor. He is completely thrown by her unexpected and sincere answer. She looks him dead in the eye, delivering a statement that shatters his worldview. They are the same. The revelation hits him with the force of a physical blow, his face a mask of shock. He thinks to himself, stunned that a member of the demon race would say such a thing. They stand facing each other in the woods, a new understanding forming between them. She suddenly breaks the tension, puffing out her cheeks and making a playful face at him. The unexpected gesture makes him laugh, and he remarks that he's never met a demon like her. She looks surprised by his warm, unguarded reaction. She admits in turn that she never thought a human like him existed either. He looks away, quietly acknowledging that people like him are a minority. With a bright smile, she says her father told her that she must believe. He is visibly touched by her unwavering and innocent faith. Standing in the woods, he confirms the reality that people like them are rare. Her expression hardens as she listens to his somber assessment. With a fierce shout, she insists that even so, she will fight against that reality. She passionately declares to him that she will not give up on her dream. Her outburst fades, and she worries aloud about the dangerous journey back to her home. Seeing her vulnerability, he looks on and makes a quiet decision. He stretches, casually announcing that he's bored and deciding to act. With a firm gesture, he beckons for her to come closer. Grabbing her hood, he states he will buy her medicine and that she is coming with him to the city. She is utterly shocked by his sudden and unexpected proposal. He places a cloth over her head. She protests, then feels her own magic suddenly fade. With a sly grin, he leans over and asks if she can feel her magic disappearing. Panicked, she demands to know what he's done to her. He explains that he simply wrapped something around her horns, which are now visible. He points to a strange, spoiling rock, explaining he refined it into a rare S-rank material. He holds up the resulting cloth, a miraculous item that can transform magical properties. He offers to make her a set, asking if she would like one for all the demons. He explains that this miraculous item is how he can safely bring her into the city. He tells her that as long as she keeps her hood on, everything will be fine. She looks at him intently, a new question forming in her mind. She asks why he would ever think to create an item designed specifically for demon horns. Flustered, he scratches his head and admits that he and she are similar in some ways. A flash of realization strikes her as she processes his words. She asks if he is also a demon, but he quickly waves the question off. Her serious expression melts away as she puffs her cheeks, holding back a giggle. Changing the subject, he realizes with a start that he hasn't even asked for her name yet. She formally introduces herself, placing a hand on her chest and stating her name is Alice Varnicio. He responds in kind, telling her his name is Kyuji Kagami. Complaining of hunger, he urges them to get a move on towards the city. Alice's face freezes in shock, as if hearing her own name has sparked a forgotten memory. As they walk through the woods, he turns back to her. A genuine friendly smile spreads across his face. He officially welcomes her, and she joyfully runs to catch up, her spirits lifted. They arrive in a bustling human city, and Alice is completely overwhelmed by the chaotic energy. She takes in the sights of a busy market, with butchers working and women selling bread. The sheer number of humans fills her with a wave of anxiety. She begins to worry about what will happen if they discover her true identity. The faces of the villagers seem menacing and threatening in her fearful mind. Her fear is palpable as she covers her mouth, trying to remain unseen. He interrupts her panic, kindly offering her a soft-serve ice cream. They find a quiet place to sit on a cobblestone side street. She takes a bite, her face immediately lighting up with pure, unadulterated bliss. He remarks that while it's a simple snack, today feels special. A kind shopkeeper, seeing their enjoyment, generously offers them more food. He offers her apples from Valmon and a slice of his wife's homemade pie. Kyuji watches with an amused and slightly exasperated smile as she gets overwhelmed. She sits happily with an armful of food, realizing that humans can be kind and understanding. Looking towards the sky, she silently vows to her distant father that she will do her best. High above, a pair of birds soar over the rooftops of the sprawling city. A winged figure, her father, hovers over the human settlement, his form silhouetted against the sky. His face is a mask of cold contempt, his thoughts a silent, chilling promise of terror for the humans below. A menacing voice issues a chilling command from above, telling humanity to be terrified. On a bustling street, Kagami suggests they find an inn, surprising his companion, Alice. Though feeling down, Alice expresses her bashful happiness at the thought of a real bed. The two travelers arrive at a sturdy building labeled Valmon's Inn. Once inside, Alice joyfully dives face first onto a soft, plush bed. Kagami informs Alice he's leaving to get medicine and that a friend is coming to guard her. With a worried expression, Alice asks if Kagami is her only friend. As he departs, Kagami clarifies that his specific role is to be her protector. Alice worries that a skilled adventurer might come to the inn with hostile intentions. With a quick goodbye, Kagami leaves the room, and Alice quietly watches him go. Alone on the bed, Alice reflects on the inherent hostility between humans and demons. Her eyes well with tears as she worries if Kagami's friends will be okay with her. A close-up shot focuses on the window of the quiet inn room. A blank transitional panel marks the silent passage of time. A voice from the hall announces their return, startling Alice from her thoughts. Surprised by their quick arrival, Alice gets up to open the door. Her hand reaches for the handle, unlocking the door with a distinct click. A towering, incredibly muscular figure looms in the doorway, shocking Alice. The imposing person leans down, their sharp eyes glinting as they call Alice a cute little miss. Her face a mask of pure terror, Alice lets out a silent, horrified scream. The sound of her scream echoes from the inn. Later, the imposing visitor, Takako Builder, calmly sips tea and reveals her name. Kagami, looking exhausted, tells Alice not to be so afraid of their guests. Alice is stunned to learn that Takako is a good person who knows she's a demon. Takako clasps her hands to her cheeks, gushing over how adorable and good Alice is. Her expression then turns serious as she prepares to share her own story. She reveals that she, too, once had a near-death experience in the past. A flashback shows a younger, injured Takako receiving a healing potion from a demon. A close-up on Takako's intense face emphasizes the weight of this memory. A young man looks down, his expression somber and contemplative. Hands carefully handle a potion as a voiceover states that humans and demons don't change. A poster for a club of muscular men is shown as a thought laments not opening a bar. Alice looks down, quietly acknowledging the weight of the somber thought. Looking up with a blush, Alice tentatively begins to speak. Her expression hardens with resolve as she prepares to formally introduce herself. Alice bows deeply, apologizing for her silence and introducing herself with newfound energy. The muscular man, Valmon, gives a friendly and welcoming thumbs up. Valmon happily recounts to Kagami how his arrival as a customer was so motivating. A flashback shows Valmon's shock upon discovering Kagami is level 999. Valmon suggests they all go to the hot springs, an idea Alice enthusiastically accepts. Alice asks Kagami to come with them, but he is seen lying on the ground, refusing. He tells them to go on ahead without him. Valmon and Alice are confused by his refusal to join them. A transitional panel marks a shift in the conversation's tone. The scene focuses on the exterior of a building as the conversation continues. Valmon laughingly calls Kagami a bath hater and remarks to Alice how shocking it is for a girl. As Valmon and Alice walk off, Kagami sighs, realizing they had assumed he was a boy. Kagami's expression is distant and weary, lost in thought. The memory of his father surfaces in his mind, his name whispered. The sound of a cart clattering begins the tragic flashback. A covered wagon rumbles along a rough, desolate path. Kagami's father lectures his younger self, stating he doesn't have to be a hero. The father instructs his son to simply find a respectable job and help out. Young Kagami struggles against weak monsters, knowing he can't beat anything stronger. A more formidable armor-clad monster, level 5, appears before him. The monster's powerful attack easily deflects a rock thrown at it. Kagami's father intervenes, effortlessly dispatching the beast and saving his terrified son. The father looks down on him with disappointment, calling him incredibly weak. Young Kagami feels the world is unfair, wishing he could have chosen his own role. A sudden loud crash from the back of the cart startles the young Kagami. He wonders why the cart stopped and calls out for his father. His father stands in the doorway, his back to the outside, calling his son's name, Koji. The father's face is a mask of grim, desperate determination. Behind him, a massive monster looms, and he screams for his son to run away. Young Kagami's face contorts in a mask of pure, unadulterated horror. In the present, Kagami clutches his head, whispering his father's name in anguish. He gasps, snapping back to the present moment with a jolt. He mutters to himself that it was a story from a long time ago. Looking out the window, he spots something unusual in the distance. A transitional panel fades, marking a shift in location. From the window, he sees Valmon and Alice walking on the street below. Valmon notices Alice's somber expression and kindly asks her what's wrong. Alice wonders how Kagami reached level 999 when there are no monsters stronger than level 500. She worries that if another level 999 person exists, they might come to kill Kagami's father. Valmon closes his eyes, thoughtfully considering her words and her fear. He confidently reassures her, stating that no one else can become level 999 like Kagami. Alice, puzzled by his certainty, asks him why he thinks so. Valmon explains that anyone like Kagami is missing something important and is also an idiot. Alice is taken aback by his assessment, questioning what could be missing. She ponders the meaning of his cryptic and insulting explanation. A fire ignites in her as she resolves to learn what kind of person Kagami truly is. She passionately asks Valmon to teach her more about Kagami and the other person. Valmon responds with a thoughtful, as Alice clenches her fists with determination. Leaning against a wall, Valmon wisely tells her that she can't just ask about everything. He explains that they aren't the only people she has met on her journey. He encourages her, saying that it will be much more fun to discover things for herself. The words land with profound impact, and Alice looks up with a new understanding. From a distance, Kagami quietly agrees with Valmon's wise sentiment. Alice thanks Valmon, who smiles warmly in response to her newfound resolve. Valmon is overcome with delight, roaring about how adorable her determination is. He joyfully sweeps her up, parading her through the street towards the hot springs. A sudden, massive explosion makes Alice and Valmon look up in shock and alarm. The street erupts into chaos as a monster crashes down from the sky. Terrified townspeople scream as the massive, muscular creature lands amongst them. A mysterious woman with long, light hair watches from the shadows, letting out a sinister chuckle. A massive, feathered beast, a hellcrow, is identified as it soars overhead. Kagami recognizes the threat as an entire flock of hellcrows. Valmon holds Alice protectively, questioning why such a thing is happening. Kagami shouts in alarm, wondering why the Demon Lord's army is here. The sinister woman steps into the open, declaring that the Demon Lord has begun to act. A small, cloaked girl stands horrified as angry villagers behind her scream for the death of the demons. Amidst the rubble, Alice wonders why her father would do this, as a man tells her to calm down. The slick-haired man, Valmon, tries to soothe the tearful Alice, who worries about the town's fate. He declares that Valmon, the town of adventurers, will not be defeated so easily. Valmon's gaze snaps upward in surprise as he spots Kagami on a distant rooftop. Alice is bewildered as a monster is suddenly sent hurtling upwards into the sky. She and Valmon realize that only Kagami could be responsible for such a feat. They deduce that Kagami must be at the point of origin of the flying monster. With a fierce battle cry, Kagami prepares to leap into the fight against a pig-like beast. The winged woman, Kultualu, is startled by a massive explosion from an unseen source. Her expression is one of utter shock and disbelief at the sudden, violent chaos. She realizes a bloody Baffa was just thrown at her with impossible accuracy. She briefly wonders if the hero is responsible, but dismisses the impossible thought. From afar, Kagami spots a commander-like figure and knows he must intervene. He runs through the chaos, deciding to join forces with the other group. His eyes widen in alarm as he spots something happening in the battle ahead. The hero Rex roars, preparing to strike his enemy as Kagami arrives in the background. Rex's eyes go wide with shock at his opponent's unexpected next move. He questions their decision to use such a powerful technique and unleashes his own counter. A hulking beast man prepares to deliver a finishing blow to the defeated hero. The beast stands triumphantly over the fallen Rex, calling him a fool and preparing to crush him. Kagami's companions cry out in horror, asking why he led another monster right to them. He decisively kicks the creature away, shouting that this is how things are. The blonde commander angrily confronts Kagami, demanding to know what he's planning. She correctly deduces his reckless plan was to lure the monsters for a counterattack. Her companion, a witch, notes the presence of crossbowmen and even a mage. The commander concedes the idea isn't bad, though her annoyance is clear. Kagami, however, looks on with a determined expression, ready to act. He playfully pokes the commander's forehead, calling her awesome and completely flustering her. The wounded hero grimly understands the danger of their commander being targeted. The commander is startled, realizing her inexperience almost led to a critical error. Kagami's sharp eyes reveal his focus and experience in the heat of battle. He smiles, thinking his unorthodox strategy was a good line to take. Kultualu watches, admitting his point was vexing but correct, despite his methods. She realizes she was too focused on the monsters to notice the civilians she should have protected. The witch Kagami turns to her companion, asking what he intends to do now. She approaches Kyuji, questioning why he, a supposed mage, isn't using his magic. Kyuji can only offer a nervous, sweaty smile in response. A small, timid girl peeks out from behind a corner, calling out to the witch. The girl's companions express their immense relief upon finding her safe. The witch turns to Kyuji, asking if the small, timid girl is his little sister. Kyuji gently chides the girl for being so formal with him. Crouching down, he asks why she looks so scared and if she's hurt. The girl looks up at him, her eyes welling with tears, unable to speak. Kyuji's expression softens with deep concern for the distressed child. He gives her a reassuring smile, promising he will figure something out. Kultualu approaches, mistakenly addressing Kyuji as Kagami. She formally introduces herself, acknowledging his power but admitting she doesn't know how to cooperate. Kyuji waves off her report, suggesting instead they capture and talk to a demon. His companions are stunned by his bizarre proposal, wondering what he could possibly mean. He thinks to himself that it's better if his recovering friends don't see his true nature. The hero's party is utterly baffled by his strange and incomprehensible logic. The witch argues that they can't just talk to the enemy, but Kyuji dismisses her concern. He confidently explains his plan to make the enemy reveal their objective without them noticing. The hero's party stares in disbelief, completely unable to comprehend his strategy. Kultualu's eyes narrow as she wonders what this man could possibly know. Kyuji notices her scrutiny, thinking to himself that the big sister has taken an interest. His thoughts turn serious, pondering the unnaturally timed arrival of the demon army's general. He scratches his head, looking over at his small, vulnerable companions. He concludes that he must ask the enemy directly what they are planning. Instructing his friends to stay back, he crouches low, gathering his power. With a determined grin, he declares, "This is what I'll do." He launches himself into the air as his friends scream in shock that he flew. The hero's party is frozen in disbelief at the impossible sight of a flying man. High above, the beast man who defeated the hero shouts the name Takako-chan. He realizes with a shock that one of their targets has gotten away. He prepares to throw his companion through the air like a living projectile. Kyuji closes in as the beast man yells that another one of them has arrived. The beast man offers a ride on his unpaid transportation service with no guarantee of survival. He hurls his companion, shouting for Kyuji to go to hell. Kyuji intercepts with a powerful kick, yelling, "Takako Bazooka!" as the beast woman cries out. From her mount, Kultualu cries out, asking what kind of town this is. She is horrified that a human came flying after the monsters. The hero on the ground can only point and scream in shock. Kultualu wonders if the man just passed through, a glint of light marking the chaos. She laments the number of unpredictable events, questioning if this is a normal human town. The two beast men crash to the ground in front of her with a massive impact. She recoils in pure shock from the sudden, violent arrival. Kyuji lands, clicking his tongue in annoyance and confirming he was protecting her. His sharp, intense eyes are focused intently on the downed enemies. Standing over the wreckage, he demands to know what will happen next. The scene transitions, showing Koji and Minot facing each other in a desolate landscape. Minot, a horned warrior, demands to know the identity of the mysterious man. Koji calmly replies that he is just a simple passerby. He then introduces himself as a level 999 villager, Koji Kagami. Minot stares in disbelief, exclaiming at the impossible combination of class and level. Fearing for the demon lord, Minot watches Koji warily as he approaches. Koji's casual mention of the demon lord triggers Minot's protective instincts. They roar that they won't let him lay a hand on the demon lord, unleashing a powerful blast. The energy explodes outwards, kicking up a massive cloud of dust and debris. Minot pants, spent from the attack, telling themselves to calm down. Koji emerges from the dust, his clothes shredded, but his body completely unharmed. He casually asks if they know the demon lord, stating he has no intention of fighting. Minot is startled by his nonchalant and unscathed appearance. Koji lets out a sudden sneeze, thinking it's absurd for a villager to know the demon lord. He reveals that he knows of Alice, the demon lord's daughter, and is currently protecting her. Minot is shocked that this human knows of Lady Alice's existence. Suspicion quickly follows as Minot questions if Koji is an ally of the demon clan. Koji clarifies that he is neither an enemy nor an ally, simply a human. Minot stares in silence, processing the impossible man who stands before them. Standing shirtless in a desolate wasteland, Kagami is confronted by a horned warrior who demands to know his purpose. In response to the question, a gentle, knowing smile spreads across Kagami's face. A flashback reveals a demon explaining that the demon lord never wanted war and that he sought medicine for his sick daughter, Alice. Kagami's expression hardens as he intensely questions if the recent attack was truly the demon lord's command. The horned warrior, Minot, furiously retorts that the command was indeed a genuine order from the demon lord. Pressing the point, Kagami asks if the order was given directly by the demon lord himself. His face darkens with a cold aura as he vows he cannot let this go unanswered. Startled by the sudden, terrifying shift in Kagami's presence, Minot flinches back in alarm. Kagami's face becomes a blank mask as he repeats his crucial question about the order's true origin. Minot searches their memory, certain that at the time nothing seemed strange about the Demon Lord's state. They then recall another figure was present in the throne room, the consort Estella. A jolt of horrified realization strikes Manu as the memory becomes clearer. The flashback reveals the imposing, faceless figure of Estella, the Demon Lord's consort. In the memory, it is Estella's cold voice that gives the direct command to attack the town of Alman. The devastating truth crashes down on Manu. The order was not from the Demon Lord. Seeing their realization, Kagami's expression softens as he tells them not to jump to conclusions. Manu looks down, troubled, acknowledging their unwavering devotion to their lord. Kagami suggests that the Demon Lord might be being manipulated from the shadows. The very idea that their lord could be controlled leaves Manu utterly shocked. Manu argues back, insisting that such dangerous thinking puts the Demon Lord himself at risk. A bead of sweat traces a path down their cheek as the weight of the possibility sinks in. With newfound resolve, Manu declares they must hurry to the Demon Lord's castle at once. Kagami suddenly grabs a massive Hellcrow carcass, refusing to let Manu go alone into danger. Caught off guard, Manu demands to know what on earth he's doing. Carried unwillingly into the sky, Manu complains about being swept into Kagami's chaotic plans. Kagami looks up, spotting the rest of the monstrous Hellcrow flock descending upon them. As Kagami braces for a fight, a panicked Manu asks what his plan is. With a sharp cry, Kagami leaps from their mount, much to Manu's astonishment. He becomes a blur of motion, flying directly towards an attacking Hellcrow. With a single explosive punch, he shatters the beak of the monstrous bird. He lands gracefully among the exploding remains of the defeated creatures. Manu is completely stunned, exclaiming that he wiped out the entire flock in an instant. Kagami lands lightly amidst the dissolving bodies of the monsters. Amidst a shower of gold coins, he gives a cheerful wave, announcing the job is done. Standing atop a mountain of treasure, a dumbfounded Manu demands to know what he is. Manu furiously accuses Kagami of showing off and needlessly worrying the Demon Lord. Kagami calmly tells Manu to relax, explaining it's too dangerous to go to the castle now. Manu listens, the logic of his words slowly starting to make sense. Atop the giant Hellcrow, Kagami explains his theory that Manu is being deceived and that going to the castle is too dangerous. He suggests it would be better to fake their annihilation and sneak into the castle later. Manu looks on, their composure slowly returning as they consider Kagami's audacious plan. Kagami comically complains that the massive sack of loot he's collected is far too heavy. The giant Hellcrow, not dead but merely stunned, seems unable to fly under the immense weight. A sly smirk crosses Kagami's face, confirming this was his intention all along. With a powerful stomp, he urges the massive creature forward. The impact causes the Hellcrow to lurch violently, taking to the sky with a great force. The massive creature groans, taking flight amidst a cloud of dust and debris. Kagami rides the beast back like a surfboard, perfectly balanced and in control. Manu, caught in the sudden takeoff, screams in pure panic while clinging on for dear life. Relaxing midair, Kagami casually states that he's fine, but Manu might be in for a rough ride. Their chaotic flight ends with a massive explosive crash in a dense forest. The aftermath of their landing is a crater of shattered earth in the quiet woods. Manu sits dejectedly against a tree, recovering from the dizzying fall. A soft groan escapes their lips as they slowly regain consciousness. Kagami is already sitting on a nearby log, cheerfully noting that Manu is finally awake. He offers a warm, reassuring smile, glad to see that Manu appears to be all right. Manu looks at him with suspicion, calling him a monster for surviving the crash unharmed. Kagami casually agrees before changing the subject and asking for Manu's name. Manu formally introduces himself and asks why Kagami, a human, won't kill them, a demon. Kagami dismisses the question as foolish, his expression unreadable and intense. Taken aback, Manu listens as Kagami explains that they seem like someone he can reason with. He points out that Manu's concern for Alice proves they are a good person. Flustered by the compliment, Manu insists their feelings have nothing to do with a human. Kagami turns away, stating that monsters are simply things he is supposed to defeat. He illustrates the tragic cycle of demons spawning monsters and humans killing them out of fear. His expression is pained as he asks Manu if this endless cycle isn't tragic. Manu looks down, a single bead of sweat on their cheek, their face a mask of guilt and sorrow. A heavy, contemplative silence settles over the two of them in the forest clearing. Kagami's face suddenly breaks into a carefree grin, shattering the somber mood. A rustle in the nearby foliage signals his intention to depart. He announces that he is leaving, promising to return with Alice the next day to pick Manu up. Manu grumbles that he has no concept of risk, but Kagami just smiles. Denying she is worried, Manu furiously insists that her concern is a matter of trust. She admits quietly that she wants to check on the Demon Lord's condition herself. Manu resolves to consider accompanying Kagami if Alice is indeed safe. Kagami beams, telling Manu they're a good person and that Alice will surely be happy to see them. With a final wave, he disappears down the path, his huge sack of loot slung over his shoulder. Left alone, Manu reflects on the ridiculously strong LV-999 villager, feeling helpless. Their thoughts turn to the struggle for existence, a conflict they feel he cannot possibly comprehend. A memory of a foolish-looking, passing villager flashes through Manu's mind. A single tear escapes Manu's eye as they wish things could have simply been different. They look up at the sky, wondering if peace will ever truly be possible. Manu's gaze sharpens with a sudden dawning realization. Their eyes snap open as a new, urgent question forms in their mind. For now, Manu concludes, they can only wait and hope that Alice is safe. The scene shifts to the exterior of a building identified as the Valman Inn. Inside the inn, Kagami lets out a huge, weary yawn. His eyes snap open, startled by a presence beside him. A girl named Arya smiles, munching on bread and asking why he looks so happy. Kagami explains to her that he's relieved he and Manu could finally talk things through. He tells Alice and Arya that it was good they went along to understand the situation. Arya is glad she accompanied them, now understanding Manu's perspective. Kagami emphasizes the importance of proper communication between humans and demons. He wonders aloud about a friend named Takako, deciding to go and check on her. With a relaxed smile, he decides to think about their next steps later on. The group stands before the gates to the Demon King's territory, facing a travel problem. Arya frets that their journey on foot will take many days to complete. Kagami smiles cryptically, hinting that they are not entirely without other travel options. A large, muscular man named Golem steps forward, announcing that he knows a way. Arya's face lights up with excitement, eagerly agreeing to follow Golem's plan. With a bead of sweat tracing a path down his temple, his eye is wide with shock. A question hangs in the air, asking if they should take a closer look. On the streets of Valman, a horse-drawn cart waits patiently by the roadside. A hulking, prideful centaur questions what a human is, demanding they avert their gaze. Kagami identifies the creature as a centauros, a monster that despises the human race. Golem calmly requests passage, but the centaur contemptuously whips its powerful tail at him. The air cracks with the sound of a sudden, sharp, and unexpected impact. The centaur's face contorts in a mask of pure agony and utter disbelief. Its body twists violently as it lets out a scream of overwhelming, masochistic pleasure. Kagami and Manu stare with horrified expressions, utterly disturbed by the bizarre spectacle. He explains that this particular creature is an extreme masochist, completely subservient to humans. Kagami laments not wanting to ride it, while Manu feels her eyes are rotting. Manu remarks that she never knew such a strange and unusual monster even existed. Kagami cheerfully explains his vast knowledge comes from his long journey to LV-999. Manu's gaze turns serious as she admits she's long been curious about him. She asks how he, a simple villager, could possibly have reached level 999. Golem strikes a pose, suggesting effort, while Arya says he needn't share secrets. Kagami seems surprised by the intensity of her curiosity regarding his past. With pleading eyes, Manu insists that anyone would be curious about his story. A gentle, thoughtful smile touches his lips as he agrees to tell his tale. His story begins with a scene of villagers working together to rebuild their town. He walks through a cobblestone alley, pondering how to explain his impossible journey. Seated on a quiet bench beside Manu, he finally begins to reveal the truth. With yen symbols in his eyes, he states his levels simply rose as he saved money. Manu is utterly dumbfounded, her jaw dropping in complete and total disbelief. He asks why she looks disappointed, insisting on the great importance of money. She concedes his point, but seems to have unspoken reservations about his strange logic. She clarifies that she does not believe money is truly everything in the world. He explains that money is necessary for food, shelter, and even basic equipment. He notes that stronger monsters yield more money, which caused his level to rise. Manu questions if any amount of money is truly worth risking one's life over. He admits that as his funds and level grew, his motivation strangely began to fade. He recalls visiting an Adventurers Guild shop with a special selection of items. His attention is captured by a mysterious item with an astronomical price tag. An ornate chest with unknown contents is displayed, priced at 10,000 gold. Manu is horrified, shrieking in disbelief at the outrageous price of the item. She demands to know his funds. He had 5,000 gold, enough to buy a castle. His eyes gleam with manic light as he insists there's a certain dream in it. Menu can only look on, completely defeated by his bizarre, unshakable logic. He saw the outrageous price not as a deterrent, but as a personal challenge. He laughs, admitting he was powerless to resist the strange item's alluring mystery. A single tear of utter exasperation escapes Menu's eye as she watches him. Back in the present, he admits he can't even understand his own foolishness. Menu looks down, thinking he can't be reasoned with and is beyond help. His expression softens into a quiet, wistful contemplation of his own nature. Turning to Arya, he admits that money was indeed the initial trigger for his quest. A gentle, wistful smile touches his lips as he reflects on his past motivations. He calls out to Alice, startling her from her thoughts with his sudden address. As ethereal coins tumble through the air, he muses that money is a strange thing. His expression turns serious as he prepares to explain his reasoning to her. He questions why currency is a necessary custom for human life to even function. The simple act of exchanging coins symbolizes this fundamental societal rule. He holds a single coin, his gaze filled with a deep philosophical questioning. Arya states plainly that monsters are the things that fall from the sky. Menu's eyes widen in utter shock, demanding to know what she just said. She asks if that's just how it is as a new voice arrives suddenly. A girl named Alice appears, brought to them by the friendly giant, Golem. Golem cheerfully reports that he has successfully located both of the individuals. Kagami's face lights up as he offers a warm greeting to the newcomer, Alice. He tells Menu they must pause their talk to reunite her with her friend. Golem then asks Alice if her own discussion had a successful outcome. A dark shadow crosses Alice's face as she prepares to deliver bad news. She reports that it's no good, suggesting they should return home immediately. As they leave, her mind lingers on his promise to continue their talk later. The young man walks away, wondering how long they will all remain together. A sky filled with fluffy white clouds marks a quiet transition in the scene. Outside Valmon, the blonde Kururu cries out for Alice Sama in her despair. Kagami and the small girl Menu call out to the distraught blonde woman. Menu rushes to her side, expressing immense relief that she is unharmed. Kururu weeps, lamenting her thoughtlessness while her people suffered an attack. The armored hero Rex approaches, reassuring her that his story was not a lie. Kagami offers a gentle smile, quietly affirming the hero's reassuring statement. She flinches away, grabbing Kagami and vowing to protect him from the hero. Overwhelmed, Kururu panics, shouting that it's not what he thinks at all. The imposing warrior Takako arrives, questioning the identity of the newcomer. Menu reassures Alice, explaining that Takako understands the demon tribe's situation. Takako apologizes for her haste, formally introducing herself to the gathered group. Rex glares, his face contorted in fury, seething that she is no lady. Kururu points at Rex's reaction and laughs, finding the situation deeply amusing. Kagami confirms Takako's gender, while Alice whispers that it must be a lie. With dramatic flair, the warrior introduces herself as the formidable Takako Builder. She offers another deep apology for her earlier, aggressive and hasty behavior. The newly formed party begins their journey, consulting a map of the area. Takako notes Menu's leaking magic means they must proceed on foot from here. The disparate group walks onward together, united by their shared uncertain purpose. Menu calls out to Kururu, who turns to ask what she wants from her. She explains that she had sensed Kururu's powerful magical aura from a distance. Kururu is surprised Menu couldn't feel it, to which Menu simply says no. Menu reveals she entered the city thanks to a magic dampening cloth from Kagami. Kururu is stunned, exclaiming in disbelief that Kagami gave her such a thing. Kagami explains the material was extremely rare, so he could only make one. Alice insists Kagami doesn't hate demons. In fact, he seems to like them. Kururu turns to him, exclaiming his name in utter shock and disbelief. Kagami himself is startled by her sudden, intense reaction to the revelation. The map he holds suddenly combusts, a fireball erupting from his hand. He recoils as the fire consumes the map, revealing a small armored figure. The small armored figure stands stoically amidst the smoldering remains of the map. Rex stomps his foot, declaring that his foe has finally shown their true nature. The hero points in alarm, yelling that Kagami has finally revealed his true colors. The entire party looks on with collective disgust at the hero's dramatic outburst. A woman in a witch's hat peeks from the foliage, confirming her suspicions. The blonde princess, Kururu, emerges with a shocked look, having felt something was amiss. From the bushes, a girl named Nadia angrily declares that being with demons was a lie. The witch confronts Kagami's surrounded party, telling the traitor to prepare themselves. With an exasperated expression, Kagami wonders why his opponents are showing up one by one. The hero, Rex, his face shadowed, declares that there will be no more excuses. He repeats his ultimatum to Kagami's group, who look on with concern. Kagami, looking conflicted, asks the hero's party why they are being surrounded. The blonde woman, Alice, states that they are surrounded to prevent them from escaping. Kagami turns to the horned girl, Manu, understanding the situation is now critical. He swiftly flicks Manu on the forehead, startling her with the sudden, sharp contact. With cold eyes, Kagami informs her that she gets a 0 for her recent performance. He explains it's pointless to use her powers on an opponent she can't even touch. The hero Rex charges forward with a roar, his sword raised for a powerful attack. With a ferocious battle cry, Rex brings his blade down in a swift arc. Kagami casually blocks the strike, asking Rex what happened to the plan to surround them. He calmly advises the furious hero that he should just give up the fight. Rex's eye glints with rage, questioning how a hero could ever surrender. He roars, demanding to know who his opponent thinks he is fighting. Kagami, unimpressed, notes the hero's reckless but admirable guts. A small smirk plays on his lips as he acknowledges the hero's commendable fighting spirit. However, he prepares to end the confrontation with a single, decisive move. With a swift motion, he catches the hero's descending blade in his bare hand. The impact is nullified as his palm stops the sword's edge completely. The hero stumbles back, his attack utterly defeated by the impossible block. Rex grits his teeth in disbelief, calling his opponent a monster. Kagami coolly retorts that he is perfectly fine with being called a monster. He dismissively tells Rex to ignore him and go subjugate the Demon Lord. The blonde woman, Alice, points out that the Demon Lord's subordinate is right there. The witch, Barna, adds that many were victimized in yesterday's attack. She declares that they cannot simply overlook the ringleader of the assault. Kagami quietly concedes that she has a point, his gaze falling on Manu. He confirms that it is a fact Manu went on a rampage in the town. Alice turns to Manu with a cold gaze, demanding an apology for her actions. The muscular warrior Takako cries out in protest, questioning Alice's sudden demand. A memory flashes of demons being slaughtered as Manu reveals her people suffered too. Manu lowers her head, clutching her clothes in silent, heartbreaking anguish. Her party members look on, their expressions a mixture of sympathy and concern. Rex slams his fist down, his anger reignited by the revelation. He roars that an apology is not enough, declaring that the demons are evil. He proclaims that anyone who cooperates with the demons is also evil. With surprising speed, he grabs Kagami's arm, startling him with a sudden restraint. His grip is like iron, holding Kagami fast in a vice-like hold. Kagami, struggling against the hold, demands to know why Rex is doing this. He challenges Rex, asking who decided this black and white morality. A blank panel creates a moment of silence and heavy tension. Rex is stunned, his conviction faltering as he questions what Kagami means. Kagami gestures to the horned Manu, asking if she looks like a bad person. The two girls, Kururu and Nadia, look on, their faces filled with worry. Rex looks at Manu, his certainty wavering as he reconsiders his beliefs. Kagami acknowledges that he understands Manu is a demon, but Manu looks up and reveals that Alice is the Demon Lord's daughter. Rex recoils, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated shock. His mind reels, unable to process the revelation that Alice is the Demon Lord's daughter. Kagami presses his point, asking Rex why he let Alice go if she's so evil. Rex grits his teeth, his worldview crumbling under the weight of the contradiction. Kagami argues that while demons are a nuisance, they are no different from humans. Alice listens, her face unreadable, but her gaze intense and knowing. Kagami's voice echoes through the trees as he states his reason for his actions. He fiercely declares that for this reason, he will not let his demon friend be killed. Rex's party is shocked by his unwavering declaration of loyalty. Kururu murmurs that even so, the situation is still incredibly complicated. Kagami holds Manu's arm, stating that the one who attacked the town is a criminal. He acknowledges her guilt, and Manu looks down in shame, deflating. Tears begin to stream down Kagami's face, surprising everyone with his emotion. He bows deeply in apology, and Manu asks if he's admitting guilt. Rex grabs him, demanding an explanation, but Kagami insists he was following orders. Kururu asks what he means by the Demon King's state being strange. Kagami's eyes widen as he prepares to drop another bombshell. He reveals to the shocked group that he has met the Demon King. Rex and Kururu are blown away by this stunning revelation. Alice's eye narrows, her focus intense as she listens to his story. Rex mutters in disbelief, asking what Kagami just said. Kagami recounts his meeting, stating the Demon King had no desire to destroy humanity. He declares his intent to confirm the truth of the situation himself. Rex, however, scoffs in disbelief at the very idea. His disbelief erupts into a furious roar of denial. He points at Kagami, yelling that his story is impossible. He furiously questions how the Demon King could not want to destroy humanity. He grabs Kagami, shouting at him not to spout such baseless nonsense. Kururu reinforces his point, declaring the Demon King is humanity's greatest enemy. Kagami looks at him calmly, preparing to ask a piercing question. He asks Rex if the Demon Lord's army has ever actually attacked. Rex is stunned into silence, his hand to his mouth in thought. His eyes widen as he realizes the answer is no, never. The memory of human slaughter is contrasted with the fact the Demon King never attacked. Rex's world shatters, realizing if the king won't fight, his life's purpose is a lie. He clutches his head in anguish, questioning what he's been fighting for. He screams in desperation, clinging to the belief that the Demon King is the enemy. A new figure appears and another party member cries out her name, Barna! The witch Barna appears, telling Rex to get a hold of himself. She lands gracefully, surrounded by a swirling vortex of water magic. Rex is drenched and sputtering, caught completely off guard by her spell. Barna states that Valmon was attacked by the demon tribe yesterday. She suggests there is a possibility Rex has been brainwashed by them. Rex glares at Manu, warning her not to take him lightly. Kagami watches the scene, realizing the situation is about to change. He decides this is his chance, declaring it's time to part ways. Rex and Kururu are shocked as Kagami makes his sudden move to escape. Kagami looks back with a grim, determined smile, his mind made up. With a great leap, Kagami carries his two companions away from the stunned hero's party. From a distance, Kururu expresses her bewilderment at his sudden departure. Rex's party reacts with shock, Kururu declaring that Kagami simply lied and ran away. A small smile plays on Kagami's lips as he wishes they had more time to talk. He shouts a cheerful promise to meet again as his group lands far away. His expression turns somber as he reflects on the difficult situation. The hero cannot accept this outcome, expressing his utter frustration. Kagami quietly contemplates the suffering caused by the conflict between humans and demons. With renewed purpose, he declares that the path of coexistence is still the best way forward. Manu looks down, her expression serious and lost in thought. A single word of doubt escapes her lips. She tells Kagami that he has changed and is finally listening to what she has to say. A bead of sweat forms on Kagami's face as he processes her earnest words. His eye widens slightly, taking in her statement. He turns away for a moment, composing his thoughts. With a resigned smile, Kagami agrees that it simply can't be helped. He smugly vows to stay with Alice until she gives up, but she is unimpressed. Alice sharply calls him a fool and asks about the carriage she knows he has prepared. Kagami is stunned, wondering how she could have possibly known about his secret plan. In a forest clearing, they find the very covered wagon Alice had just mentioned. Two burly thugs stand guard, one sneering at the party's approach. One of the men recognizes Manu with a shocked expression. The thug dismissively states that they weren't planning on harming the merchant inside anyway. Enraged by his taunt, Manu delivers a swift kick, shouting that he is an idiot. The canvas flap of the wagon flutters as the thugs begin their hasty escape. One of the men grabs the harness, barking an order to his companion. The second thug strains with immense effort to move the heavy cart. His face contorts as he puts his full weight into the task. The first thug yells for them to go, his body tensed with the effort. With a great heave, the two men get the wagon rolling, making their escape. One of the fleeing thugs lets out a final triumphant yell. Kagami and Alice are left behind, their faces shadowed in speechless defeat. The entire party sits dejectedly on a rocky outcrop as Golem offers a quiet apology. In a desolate canyon, the remains of a covered wagon lie wrecked and abandoned. An armored warrior steps firmly onto the rocky path, continuing his journey forward. The hero tells his companions they've escaped for now, but will surely meet their pursuers again. The princess watches the hero, who looks away in troubled silence. She confesses her deep-seated hatred for monsters, wishing for their complete annihilation. The hero acknowledges his duty to destroy the demons, yet he seems hesitant. His gaze sharpens as he ponders the possibility that the demons might desire peace. He quietly reminds himself of his role as the hero, his duty weighing on him. The princess whispers his name, Rex Sama, her expression full of concern. The vast, empty landscape stretches out, symbolizing the arduous path that lies ahead. The party's witch announces it's time to go, intending to secure transport in the city. The princess looks on, quietly observing the witch's unwavering determination. She silently notes that her companion shows absolutely no hesitation in her actions. The witch, arms crossed, confidently states there is nothing for them to worry about. The hero and his two smaller companions are left completely bewildered by her certainty. The group continues their trek across the bleak and unforgiving rocky terrain. Arriving at Salmeria, a small girl marvels at the fortress city's massive walls. A dark-haired young man explains its proximity to the Demon King's castle requires such defenses. The small girl, Alice, worries if she should truly be accompanying them. Their party merges with a muscular man and a leaderly figure, riding a very annoyed centaur. The centaur grumbles about the indignity of carrying the men, calling them insects. The leader reviews their plan. They will pose as merchants to enter the city. He explains a blue devil's horn will hide the small girl's demonic nature. The leader politely asks his large companion, Takako, to dismount the centaur. At the gate, a guard inspects their papers, noting the difficulty of the journey. The leader smoothly agrees, praising the strength of his villager guards. The guard, convinced, waves them through as they offer their thanks. He adds a warning that the city is crowded due to a parade. The dark-haired man is completely shocked by the unexpected news of a parade. Inside Salmeria, they find a chaotic street festival in full swing. The entire party is stunned by the wild celebration unfolding before them. The young man grimaces, realizing the situation is far worse than he imagined. The parade leader announces a full-scale subjugation force will depart the next day. A young woman with a braided hairstyle looks on, her expression one of pure shock. With a grim look, a man named Yuta suggests the assault on Valmon was a feint. He notes they got carried away by victory, though the demon lord never attacked before. Meanwhile, the city streets erupt in a wild premature victory celebration. Armored knights know the subjugation force is marching towards certain annihilation by stronger foes. A young woman, Alice, watches the rowdy festivities with a deeply worried expression. The dark-haired Kagami realizes this endless cycle of reprisal will never stop. He fears the very path to coexistence may now be severed forever. Alice looks on, her face a mask of concern for the grim future. The small group discusses the dire reality of their situation together. Yuta voices his concern that stopping the army now is impossible. Kagami quietly agrees with his companion's bleak assessment of their predicament. He explains that Atropos Island's high-level monsters make it an indefensible position. If the demon lord were truly serious, he could overwhelm the city instantly. Yuta looks down at a worried Alice, agreeing with her unspoken fears. A fire of inspiration ignites in Kagami's eye as a daring idea forms. Alice looks over, surprised, as Kagami announces that he has a plan. He passionately declares they will persuade the Demon King to make his people flee. His companions, Yuta and Alice, are stunned into silence by the audacious proposal. Yuta immediately expresses his doubt, calling the plan reckless and dangerous. He questions if the Demon King would even meet them without killing them. Alice steps forward, declaring that if he chooses this path, she will go too. Kagami challenges her resolve, asking what she would do if her father fought humanity. Her expression hardens as she vows that she too will not stand idly by. Kagami raises his hand, declaring that in that case, he will fight. With tears in her eyes, Alice whispers Kagami's name, moved by his resolve. A gentle smile touches Kagami's lips as he prepares to reveal his true plan. He looks to the sky, proclaiming his goal of an allied army for coexistence. The distant hero Rex is utterly shocked by this unbelievable declaration. Alice is equally stunned, her hands flying to her face in disbelief. Yuta stares with wide eyes, his composure shattered by the audacious idea. Kagami addresses his small group, now including a hooded figure and a large man. He explains his vision of gathering all who desire peace, both human and demon. A stern, dark-haired man stands with crossed arms before a shocked young person. Another figure watches silently. With a sharp, intense gaze, the blonde man, Rex, questions the very possibility of peaceful coexistence. Peeking from behind a pillar, the pale-haired Manu watches the scene with a sad expression. In the bright courtyard, the young Alice declares that they have already proven it's possible. A nearby woman exclaims Alice's name in surprise at her sudden, bold interjection. Alice proclaims with unwavering conviction that she will join the newly proposed allied army. Menno's jaw drops in utter shock, her composure completely shattered by the declaration. Both Kagami and Rex stare, equally stunned by Alice's decision to join their cause. She acknowledges that this path may force her into direct opposition with her own father. With tears in her eyes, she passionately shouts that she refuses to give up on coexistence. Rex looks at Kagami, remarking that to give up now would be a complete waste. Kagami gently places a hand on Alice's head, the sudden gesture startling her. He smiles warmly, encouraging her and suggesting that they do their best together. A single tear falls from Alice's eye as she smiles and firmly agrees. Kagami then turns his attention to the covered wagon, asking Manu for her decision. Minno's eyes swirl with resolve. She serves the demon lord but cannot abandon Alice. Leaping from the wagon, she shouts that she will never leave Alice's side. Kagami tries to stop her from climbing out of the wagon, but she is too quick. The slick-haired man, Yuta, watches the chaotic scene unfold with an amused sigh. Calling them all fools, he announces that he has no choice but to join them. Alice turns and calls out to the large bearded man, Takako, for his support. With a deep bow, Takako proclaims that it is an honor to serve their cause. Looking up from below, the rest of the group sees their new alliance has been forged. Kagami rallies his newly formed party, pointing towards the Demon King's castle. Their grand ambition immediately collides with reality at an inn in Salmeria. On a bed, Kagami wails in despair, unable to believe they can't even leave the city. Yuta calmly explains that the city gates were sealed before dusk due to the attack. Alice looks out at the heavy guard presence, realizing it will be impossible to sneak away. Kagami laments his desire to avoid attracting any more unwanted attention. A new plan is decided. They will burst out of the city as soon as the gates open. Alice agrees with the new strategy, her expression one of firm resolve. Yuta and Kagami concur, noting that their smaller group will be faster than the army. Later in their room, Yuta observes the others with a knowing, almost condescending smirk. Alice asks Kagami why he seems so calm, wondering if he is secretly panicking. In a moment of levity, Kagami hoists Alice onto his shoulders for a piggyback ride. Yuta chuckles to himself, still finding the dream of human-demon coexistence unbelievable. As Kagami gives Alice a ride on his back, Yuta lightly applauds their foolishness. Alice suggests that since her movements are restricted, they should go see the parade. She squirms on his back, fidgeting and remarking on the strange timing of it all. Yuta tells her not to mind him, as Manu peeks out from the wagon's curtain. Alice then tells Kagami to escort her, offering a meek apology for her earlier comment. Flustered, Kagami insists that her apology was not what he was looking for. The group makes their way out into the city streets to experience the festival. Alice is completely stunned by the sight of the vibrant and chaotic street parade. Overwhelmed by the crowd, Kagami suggests they find a place to eat and calm down. A cheerful baker with a kind smile offers Alice a balloon, calling her a cute lady. Another woman from a stall insists they take some of her fresh bread. A man offers them a large kebab, asking if they would like some meat. Alice happily shows off her bag full of food as Kagami praises her acquisition skills. She clutches her bounty of food, her expression one of quiet, smug satisfaction. Alice turns and offers her food to Kagami, asking him to eat with her. Her eyes shine with earnestness as she tells him to eat and regain his strength. Kagami is visibly touched by her profound and unexpected consideration for him. He gently pats her head, remarking on how surprisingly thoughtful she is for a child. He proudly reassures her that she needn't worry, thanks to his special skill. He reveals the skill's name, Auto Revive, which naturally heals minor injuries. Alice understands that this is the reason Kagami has no scars left on his body. Her eyes fill with deep admiration as she thinks to herself how amazing he is. Kagami admits that he is glad if he has been of some use to her. He turns away flustered, quietly lamenting that he should have accepted coexistence sooner. He confesses that he is who he is today because of her, and he is glad they met. Alice is stunned into silence by his sudden and deeply heartfelt confession. Before she can respond, Kagami spots a pasta shop and quickly changes the subject. She calls out to him, trying to get him to continue their important conversation. The camera pans up the exterior of the building, a sign reading, "Pasta and Coffee." A sign in the restaurant window displays pictures of various pasta dishes. Inside, Alice tugs on Kagami's sleeve, asking what he was just muttering about. Kagami's expression shifts as he glances to the side and spots Rex at a table. Rex asks if they aren't going to eat and reminds them of the importance of table manners. The blonde girl, Karuru, glares with intense suspicion at Kagami and his companion. Her eyes are wide, her focus locked on the two newcomers with distrust. Rex suddenly leaps to his feet with a loud gasp, startling everyone in the restaurant. The scene cuts abruptly to the desolate Atropos Island, home of the Demon King's castle. A close-up shows the colossal, skeletal head of the dragon fortress. The massive, clawed foot of a monster stomps down as part of an approaching horde. A brutish, frog-like monster with glowing eyes leads the charge of the army. A vast, terrifying army of grotesque monsters marches relentlessly forward. Back in Salmeria, Kagami's mind reels from the sudden turn of events. Holding Alice protectively, he gasps, realizing he's run into the hero yet again. The hero, Rex, sits at a table, declaring that he has been wanting to see the villager. As the shopkeeper asks him to be quiet, Rex declares that this is his chance. He leans over the table, stating that he has many questions for the villager. He slams the restaurant door open, shouting in frustration to find the street empty. He yells that Kagami ran away again and that they must give chase immediately. The empty streets of the town mock their failed pursuit of Kagami and Alice. Rex's party stands defeated. He wonders what Kagami is even doing in this town. He laments that it would have been better if Kagami had simply stayed put. Kururu suggests asking the townspeople for their help in the search for Kagami. Rex's expression is serious as he considers her suggestion. He decides against it, unsure of how Kagami might react to being cornered. The cleric agrees, stating it would put the civilians who saw them in danger. Menu listens thoughtfully, absorbing their reasoning for not involving the locals. Kururu states with conviction that she doesn't believe Kagami is a bad person. She turns to Rex to explain her reasoning for this belief. Her expression is earnest as she continues her defense of Kagami's character. She insists that she does not believe he is truly evil. Meno calls out Kururu's name, listening intently to her surprising perspective. Kururu explains that when they first met, Kagami approached them to talk. She recalls how they attacked him without listening, yet he didn't fight back. He didn't try to use his overwhelming power to force his will upon them. A flashback shows Kagami simply turning and running away from their initial confrontation. A young blonde man, the hero Rex, regards his companion with a sharp, intense gaze. The young woman, Kururu, confronts him, her expression indignant as she accuses him of being condescending. Looking away, Rex tells her not to needlessly injure people. Their witch companion, Barna, advises Rex against cornering Kururu, worried she might flee. Barna then questions Kururu's motives for pursuing a certain individual, asking if she intends to ally with demons. Rex clarifies he only has questions, while Kururu demands to know why he harasses the demon race. With her arms crossed, Barna coolly reminds Kururu that their goal of defeating the demons remains unchanged. An ellipsis hangs in the air, signifying a moment of silence over the city rooftops. The scene transitions with a view of a cloudy gray sky. In a separate part of the city, Kagami's party walks through a narrow alley. Kagami pants for breath, shocked that he and his companion ran into the hero's party so soon. He grimaces, muttering about his strange, fated connection to the other group. His red-haired companion, Alice, looks on happily as they enter a bustling festival street. Kagami marvels at the lively crowd, while Alice shivers with excitement. She gazes around in awe, her eyes wide with wonder at the vibrant festival. Suddenly, her expression turns to one of surprise, her attention captured by something new. Kagami hoists Alice onto his shoulders, asking if she can see the spectacle from up there. With a gentle smile, he asks if she is still interested in enjoying the festival. He walks through the crowd, happily giving Alice a piggyback ride as she points ahead. She declares that this experience is also a valuable form of study. Kagami's attention is drawn to a cheerful woman selling soft-serve ice cream. The group finds a place to rest, sitting at tables on a wooden deck. Alice happily licks her ice cream cone, her eyes closed in pure bliss. She remarks on how amazing humans are and wishes she could share this with the demon race someday. Her peaceful moment is shattered as she looks up with alarm, shouting a warning. A crowd of people rushes past them, yelling that the event is starting. Kagami looks towards the commotion, wondering what is happening. Alice points in terror, identifying a monster that has appeared in a cleared space. A man in the crowd roars for the city's vanguard to defeat the creature. Another bystander explains to Kagami that it is a festival attraction. The vanguard surrounds the weak monster, preparing to boost public morale with a staged battle. A sudden, massive explosion erupts in the street, sending the crowd reeling in shock. Kagami and Alice share a look of pure, unadulterated horror. A colossal, roaring, lion-headed beast bursts from the rubble of a destroyed building. A smaller, goblin-like creature with a mask-like face shrieks amidst the destruction. The men on the ground note with alarm that this is a new, unfamiliar type of monster. The beast attacks, sending a man flying as Kagami simultaneously delivers a powerful kick. The massive monster stumbles back, roaring in pain and surprise from Kagami's blow. The other fighters panic, realizing they are unable to get close to the enraged beast. Kagami pushes his comrades back, yelling that they can't approach the monster. He desperately wonders what to do, knowing his powerful skills take time to activate. A mustached man sits on the ground, completely paralyzed by fear. The beast looms over him, its claws raised for a final, crushing strike. A clear voice incants the spell Divine Shield to protect the fallen man. A brilliant barrier of light intercepts the monster's attack with a loud clang. Kururu strains to hold the shield, urging the man to run away quickly. The enraged monster roars, pressing its immense strength against the faltering shield. With a final crack, the magical barrier shatters into 1,000 pieces of light. Kururu is thrown backward by the force of the blast, stumbling to the ground. The man she saved looks at her with disbelief, his expression grim. He asks if she isn't afraid, pointing out that she could have easily escaped. Kururu looks up, her expression hardening with regal determination. The man, moved by her bravery, finds his resolve and vows that he will not run. She declares that protecting the people is the sacred duty of the royal family. The mustached man looks on, inspired and awed by her noble sacrifice. The monster lets out a deafening roar, preparing to devour the princess. Its massive, tooth-filled maw opens wide, descending upon her vulnerable form. Kururu is frozen with terror, her mind screaming that she cannot move a single muscle. A figure blurs into view, preparing to intercept the monster's devastating attack. Kagami's foot slams into the ground, halting his charge just before the beast. Kururu looks up in shock at her unexpected savior, asking who he is. He grabs the monster's upper jaw, stopping its attack inches from her face. With a grimace of effort, she again asks her mysterious protector for his identity. Kagami's fist glows with crackling energy as he prepares to unleash a powerful strike. He drives his glowing fist into the monster's face with a thunderous impact. He faces the beast, readying his next more powerful attack from below. He pulls his other fist back, aiming for the monster's core. The devastating charging blow erupts from within the monster's body. The creature is completely obliterated in a starburst of light from the powerful blow. As the monster dissolves, Kururu sits stunned amidst a shower of glittering coins. Kagami turns to her with a grin, declaring that she was a perfect 100 today. Kururu looks at him, her expression a mixture of shock and awe. Alice rushes towards them from the distance, calling out Kururu's name in concern. Kagami mutters that a level 999 monster appearing should have been his line to say. Rex, the hero, approaches, demanding to know how Kagami defeated the beast. Kagami explains it was a powerful charging blow, though he calls it a basic technique. He clenches his fist, which is faintly smoking, noting he can't use the skill again right away. Rex looks at Kagami, a serious expression on his face, a silent question in his eyes. He tells Kagami that there are many things he wants to discuss with him. Barna the witch reacts with surprise to this sudden declaration. Kagami looks surprised for a moment, then agrees to the impending talk. Rex nods, his expression softening as he accepts the arrangement. He says they must first check the surrounding area for any other monsters. Kururu timidly gets Kagami's attention, wanting to speak with him. She grabs his sleeve and formally thanks him for saving her life. Kagami smiles warmly, telling her the victory was thanks to her holding the monster off. She looks up at him, touched by his humble attribution of the win. Barna cheats Kagami, remarking that he is neutral despite helping the demon race. Kagami spots the mustached man he saved, hurrying away and calls out to him. The man turns back in a panic, yelling at them to run away immediately. Kagami asks if monsters are appearing in other places around the city as well. The man screams that the situation is far worse than that. Kagami is startled by the man's sheer, overwhelming terror. The man explains that a massive horde of monsters from Atropos Island is approaching. A terrifying vision shows a teeming army of grotesque, powerful monsters. He delivers the final soul-crushing news: their numbers are about 10,000. Kagami's confident demeanor shatters, his eyes wide with horror and disbelief. He looks at the surrounding city, a dreadful thought forming in his mind. Standing with his companions, he declares with despair that the city is already finished. A title page for episode 09 confirms a massive monster horde is approaching. A hooded villager kneels on the cracked stone ground, his expression weary. Kagami and his companions listen, their faces etched with stunned disbelief. The villager's eye is wide with certainty as he confirms the terrible news. A chilling panorama reveals the approaching horde, its numbers estimated at 10,000. Kagami's face is a mask of horror, realizing the monster army is nearly upon them. Sweat beads on his temple as he stares, his pupils shrinking in shock. He turns to his blonde companion Rex, addressing him as Hero. Kagami urgently instructs Rex to lead the evacuation while he seeks out a special comrade. Rex questions the vague order, wondering what he is to do in the meantime. Kagami places a hand on Alice's head, entrusting her to Rex's care. Rex reacts with sheer, wide-eyed shock at the sudden responsibility. The witch Menu and another girl share in his astonished disbelief. Rex explodes with fury, demanding to know what Kagami is thinking. He reminds Kagami that they are enemies of the demon race. Kagami asks Rex to consider what must be done if Alice becomes a liability. Alice flinches, her face a canvas of shock and hurt at his cold words. Kagami's steely gaze softens, his expression turning to one of profound sorrow. His eyes well with tears as he desperately begs Rex to protect the small girl. With his hand on her head, Kagami repeats his heartfelt plea for her safety. Rex and the witch Manu can only look on, the tension thick between them. The scene is blank, marking a transition in the tense moment. As Kagami departs, Alice stands before Manu, the witch. She formally states that she has been entrusted to Manu's care. Manu looks down at the small girl, remarking that she has been abandoned. Alice's eyes fill with tears, but her voice is firm as she refutes the idea. She declares with conviction that Kagami trusted them, and so she will trust them too. The witch looks on, her expression softening with a hint of surprise. With her back to them, Alice clenches her fists, reaffirming her own belief. A companion worries aloud about the massive horde of monsters and their next move. Another wonders what they can possibly do in this desperate situation. The witch pulls the trembling Alice into a warm, protective embrace, reassuring her. She looks down at the girl with a soft smile, asking if she's truly in danger. Alice looks up, her expression still laced with uncertainty and fear. Menno gently pats her, vowing not to break her promise to protect her. She announces that she is going ahead, as there's no time for this. Alice, her spirit buoyed, quickly offers to help with the evacuation. A corner of a building is shown as she offers her assistance. The scene erupts into chaos as villagers flee from attacking lizard-like monsters. Rex slams his fist into one of the beasts, joining the desperate fight. A woman urgently warns the fleeing citizens that a massive horde is approaching. Another girl desperately yells for everyone to run for their lives. Rex punches a stone wall in pain frustration, his knuckles bloody. He warns his companion to be careful as she rushes to his side. The witch asks if he's all right as Alice and another girl look on. Rex's eyes widen as he tells her to look around, spotting new arrivals. A large muscular man, Takako, holds a frightened Alice, demanding Manu unhand her. Alice and Rex are shocked to see Takako and Manu appear. A villager explains that this group had gone to search for others. A bead of sweat traces a path down Takako's cheek as he assesses the situation. He grimly notes the unpleasant combination of people now gathered. Rex's face contorts in fury as he stares at the newcomers. Takako, seeing the hostility, remarks on the strange circumstances of their meeting. A frantic Manu, holding Alice, demands she be released immediately. Takako, confused, asks what this is all about, referring to Kagami. Rex, his expression weary, begins to explain the situation to them. The scene focuses on the city architecture as the explanation continues. Takako listens, hand to his chin, stating that he understands and was also searching for Kagami. Alice mentions the inn was just down a straight road. She wonders with a worried expression if Kagami could have gotten lost. Rex wonders where Kagami went, glancing down the empty street. A hooded villager runs towards them, screaming for someone to come. Rex and Alice turn, startled by the man's frantic cries for help. The man screams that at the west gate, a lone warrior is fighting the horde. He explains that this man is holding them off so everyone else can escape. Alice's eyes widen in horrified realization, knowing it must be Kagami. The man grabs Rex's arm, begging him to help before the lone fighter dies. Alice clutches her cloak, her face a mask of dread and worry. The villager's voice confirms their worst fears, identifying the lone fighter as Kagami. Alice thinks of the demons overrunning the town and the humans left behind. She comes to the grim conclusion that coexistence is impossible. Her gaze fixes on Kagami's solitary back, knowing he intends to stop the army alone. A fire of determination ignites in her eyes as she resolves to stop him. Someone calls her name as she breaks into a dead sprint toward the fight. A close-up shows her eyes, burning with fierce determination. She declares that she can't let Kagami go alone, no matter how strong he is. Her small feet pound the cobblestones as she rushes toward the battle. Suddenly, Takako scoops her up, declaring that this way is faster. Perched on his shoulder, Alice explains they need to hurry and provide recovery support. Takako's face is a mask of grim resolve, calling Kagami's actions foolish. Rex, running alongside, panics, yelling and asking if Kagami is suicidal. Takako asks Rex if he's coming to help them. Rex yells that he never should have listened, questioning why Kagami went alone. He grits his teeth, knowing Kagami's actions are tantamount to suicide. The witch explains that Kagami can't give up if there's even a 1% chance. Rex argues back that recklessness is not the same as courage. The witch looks on, thinking that for Kagami, something vital is missing. A speech bubble confirms her thought. Something important is fundamentally absent. She realizes he lacks the basic fear of death and instinct for self-preservation. A bead of sweat appears on Rex's face as he grasps this horrifying truth. He cries out that he too is resolved to fight, his voice cracking with emotion. The witch and Rex spot Kagami standing on the wall, yelling at him. Menno shouts at him, asking what he's doing just standing there. Rex's eyes widen in alarm as he sees the impending danger. The colossal worm monster slams down on the wall where Kagami stood. Takako and Rex can only watch in stunned, silent horror. The light-haired man wonders how a mere villager could become so strong. Alice whispers Kagami's name, tears welling in her eyes at the memory of his power. Kagami is shown catching the colossal worm monster in his bare hands. He squeezes with inhuman strength, twisting and crushing the creature's body. A dark, chaotic aura envelops him as he unleashes his devastating power. A young man with light hair stares in shock, questioning if his opponent is even human. Standing over a defeated beast, Kagami is revealed to be the Impossible, a level 999 villager. The title page for episode 10 shows Kagami in a desperate, chaotic struggle with hulking monsters. Watching from a distance, Alice and an armored man are helpless, wondering why Kagami pushes himself so far. A slick-haired man, his face pained, begins to recount the tragic history that forged Kagami. The armored man looks away as the red-haired girl listens with a worried expression. In a flashback, a small, dirt-streaked Kagami cries, having just witnessed a monster kill his parents. The boy was consumed by sadness and a deep, unforgivable shame over his own weakness. This grief quickly twisted into a seething hatred for the world and his powerless role within it. Seeking strength, he began a relentless hunt, vowing to defeat countless monsters. His single-minded quest, however, immediately ran into a significant problem. His initial method was to safely kill low-level moss goblins by throwing rocks from a distance. He soon made a horrifying realization. Killing monsters of his own level yielded no experience points. Holding a rock, he understood his level would not rise if he continued to fight without risk. This repeated failure only served to reinforce the painful knowledge of his own powerlessness. Therefore, he was forced to adopt a much more dangerous strategy. He stopped running and challenged a stronger monster in life-threatening, close-quarters combat. For a simple villager, this was a suicidal act, a desperate test of his own limits. Grappling with the beast, he questioned if he should just give up and die to end his weakness. Having slain the monster, he wondered if his own life truly held any value at all. The desolate, rain-soaked landscape shows the bleak aftermath of his desperate battle. Lying exhausted on the ground, he lamented how incredibly strong the moss goblins were. With a grimace, he corrected himself, admitting that it was only the villager who was weak. His body finally gave out, and he collapsed unconscious onto the muddy ground. Upon waking, his eyes shot open with a look of utter disbelief. A translucent screen began to materialize before his very eyes. His hand reached toward the status window, which displayed his new level, 55. Kneeling on the ground, he couldn't comprehend how his level had risen when it shouldn't have. In that moment of confusion, he became aware of a hidden mechanic of the world. A diagram explains that fighting from a disadvantageous position grants a massive experience bonus. Another chart shows a lone, weak villager gains far more experience than a well-equipped party. This was the sole, terrible privilege granted only to the villager class. Still, his weakness was absolute, and he panted as armored adventurers passed by with disdain. He sat alone, exhausted and broken by his brutal training method. He decided that if he had to be willing to die to become strong, then it was a worthy trade. With manic eyes, he vowed to buy levels with his own life and slaughter every last monster. From then on, he engaged in a literal life-or-death struggle, constantly fighting at a disadvantage. He stands triumphant over a slain beast, having finally avenged his father. After being away from his village for a very long time, he finally hurried home. The village he returned to, however, was not the one he remembered from his childhood. His eyes widened in absolute shock and horror at the scene before him. He cried out in disbelief at the sight of his ruined and eerily silent home. His gaze fell upon the still forms of the villagers he once knew. He saw more bodies scattered amidst the rubble and destruction. The devastation was total, the town littered with the corpses of its inhabitants. He knelt beside one body in particular, a woman with achingly familiar hair. In a choked whisper, he recognized her with dawning horror, murmuring his mother's name. The dark memory begins to fade back to the present day. A transition panel marks the end of the harrowing flashback. The slick-haired man explains that one night, the village was attacked and destroyed by bandits. Alice listens, her face pale with shock, as she learns of Kagami's tragic past. He then reveals the most devastating truth. His father was killed by a monster, his mother by humans. The man in the hat, Esther, finally understands, realizing this is the reason for Kagami's neutrality. The blonde man beside him questions the fate of Kagami's parents. The slick-haired man tells Alice that Kagami's meeting with her father was a significant event. Alice looks up at him, asking about her own father. He deflects the question, stating that only Kagami himself can tell her the full story. The blonde princess, Kururu, pants with exhaustion, vowing that she will not let Kagami die. With a determined look, Alice resolves to do everything she can to help. She thinks of Kagami, who is still fighting a desperate, lonely battle against the monstrous horde. Kagami is completely submerged in a tide of goblin-like monsters, struggling against their crushing weight. His thoughts rage against a world where conflict with monsters and demons seems unavoidable. He screams internally that he wants to become who he wants to be, not the role he was given. He rejects the arbitrary rules that have been forced upon him by others. Even if this brutal chaos is the true nature of the world, he vows he will never forgive it. A new threat appears as a hulking stone golem looms over the battlefield. Kagami's eyes widen in sheer terror as he sees a new attack coming. The golem's cavernous mouth glows, charging a massive sphere of destructive energy. A massive glowing fist smashes down with cataclysmic force, obliterating the area. The ground explodes in a starburst of energy, leaving his fate completely uncertain. Episode 11's title page shows Kagami sitting on a crude throne of rock, somber and alone. A hulking beast brings its fist down, mercilessly smashing a smaller creature. Kagami watches in desperation, knowing he is too late to intervene. The blow lands with a sickening crunch, though it does reduce the number of their enemies. Alice and her companions discuss raising the adventurer's morale to win without any more sacrifices. Kagami's face twists into a grimace as he witnesses the brutal cost of the battle. He knows that this is anything but an ideal outcome for anyone involved. A massive explosion of pure energy erupts across the battlefield. Kagami stares, his mouth agape, utterly shocked by the incredible display of power. The battlefield is left a scene of utter devastation and ruin. A massive crater smokes and steams where the blast occurred. Billowing clouds of smoke and dust rise from the point of impact. From the smoke, a tattered Kururu emerges, scolding someone for trying to die on their own. Her face is a mask of pure frustration and utter exhaustion. Kagami looks up from the ground, shocked to see the princess has joined the fight. The hero Rex declares his presence with a powerful stomp. He unleashes a devastating sword technique, the fierce wave slash. As the hero, he declares he cannot allow villagers to be the ones fighting and fleeing. From the ground, Kagami watches as the hero and a villager charge into battle together. He then looks on in horror as they are both engulfed in a sudden, violent explosion. The slick-haired man's face is a mask of shadowed horror and disbelief. He cries out in despair as a monster holds up the tiny, helpless Takoko-chan. The hulking beast mercilessly crushes the small creature in its fist. The large man confronts Kagami, demanding to know why he came only to watch. With a determined look, he reminds Kagami that he came to help them. Kagami retorts that staying put means certain death, vowing to cut down his enemies. Inspired, the large man agrees to share the burden of the fight. The arrogant Esther appears, condescendingly telling Kagami not to be a nuisance because he's a demon. He adds coldly that a pointless death is no different than a sacrifice. Kagami is startled by the sudden arrival of Amada, the small, quiet healer. A young girl with a backpack gently pats the back of Kagami, noting his recovery. The witch from his party appears, sternly demanding a proper explanation for his actions. Kagami is stunned as his companions arrive, declaring they have come to help push back the enemy. A horned woman with pale hair skeptically asks if the newcomers are truly prepared to die. The blonde princess, Tina, glares forward with a look of fierce, unshakable determination. Her expression shifts to one of wide-eyed shock as she loudly proclaims they will not die. Inspired by her defiance, Kagami echoes the sentiment, vowing he will not let anyone perish. The large martial artist roars his agreement, immediately charging forward into the battle. Seated on the ground, Kagami has a quiet moment of realization, thinking he is no longer alone. Alice, the red-haired girl, watches the group from a distance with an unreadable expression. Her gaze then hardens, her eyes alight with a new, powerful resolve. With purpose in her stride, she sprints toward a large, fortified stone gate. The horned woman asks where Alice went, and Kagami replies that she is properly hidden. The martial artist confronts the horned woman, stating he knows she has no intention of fleeing. Kagami lets out a weary sigh, bracing himself for the next phase of the fight. Leaping to his feet, he declares they will do what they can and cherish their lives. A massive hulking golem made of rock suddenly appears before the startled party. Kagami tells his companion to begin coordinating their efforts immediately. He charges headfirst at the golem, yelling a challenge and telling it not to get cocky. The golem rears back its enormous stone fist, preparing for a devastating downward strike. Kagami meets the attack head-on, a look of sudden surprise on his face. As the ground shatters, the princess and the monk scream, believing he has been killed. Their faces are masks of pure, unadulterated shock at the devastating impact. A hand emerges from the rubble as a small girl calmly states that he won't die. Kagami, bruised and bleeding, whispers that he's fine as the princess lets out a cry. He startles the princess by bolting upright, asking if she's okay before admitting he was near death. With a smile, he explains he got carried away, knowing she would be there to heal him. Tina furiously reminds him of her name and scolds him for the immense worry he caused. Kagami realizes with a jolt that he has never truly fought in a proper party before. Looking humbled, he offers a sincere apology for his insensitivity toward the princess. He quietly announces his intention to handle a specific, dangerous task by himself. Touching his temple, he calls for everyone to focus and work in perfect coordination. Soaring on a winged beast, he notes that the flying enemies are a troublesome obstacle. He looks down at the battlefield, his expression resolute as he prepares his next move. The witch and princess look up in surprise as Kagami calls out to them from above. He swoops down from the sky, grabbing them both as they shriek in protest. With a serious look, he asks if they are capable of performing a simple incantation. The princess looks up at him, her face a mask of utter bewilderment at his audacious plan. The witch, though dangling precariously, concedes that she can indeed perform the task. With a powerful leap, he launches the trio back into the sky with a great gust of wind. The two girls scream as they are carried high into the air, held firmly by Kagami. From their new vantage point, he asks if they can wipe out all the enemies below. The witch glares down at the battlefield, accepting the reckless but brilliant strategy. A spectacular barrage of magic erupts from their position, devastating the monsters below. Kagami roars with fierce exhilaration, marveling at the incredible power of their combined magic. After landing, he declares their maneuver a great success as his companions collapse in exhaustion. Tina, still flustered, scolds him for his rough treatment and asks what he thinks a princess is. Kagami looks surprised by her lingering anger, not quite understanding her frustration. He muses aloud about the incredible feeling of camaraderie he experienced during the aerial assault. Tina's expression softens at the word companions, a new thought dawning in her eyes. With a slight blush, she concedes that, since it can't be helped, she will forgive him. The monk Lex vows to handle his share of the fight, asking for the weaker enemies. He grits his teeth, determined that he will eventually become much stronger. The hero watches him with a mixture of sympathy and exasperation at his plea. She states that as the hero, she cannot allow him to be surrounded by powerful foes. With a sigh of resolve, she rallies her traumatized companion, telling him it's time to go. The party presses onward through the treacherous, winding canyon, their path difficult. Their breathing is heavy and labored, the toll of the continuous battles clear on their faces. Kagami gazes ahead, realizing with a sinking feeling that they have finally reached their limit. Before them, the canyon floor is teeming with an overwhelming number of monsters. He urgently tells his companions that now is their one chance to escape the horde. The martial artist angrily questions if Kagami is suggesting they run away. The princess points an accusing finger, certain he plans to stay behind as a sacrifice. Kagami is horrified, realizing his words have been completely misinterpreted. Panic grips him as he realizes that at this rate, they will all be wiped out. A bright voice declares that it's okay now, as Kagami recognizes the arriving Alice. He stares in shock at the large group of armed people standing behind her. Alice stands before him, her presence a beacon of hope against the despair. He calls out her name again, his voice filled with utter disbelief. His companions look on, equally stunned by the sudden arrival of reinforcements. A close-up reveals Alice's radiant, reassuring smile as she repeats her comforting words. The full view shows an entire army of Salmeria's adventurers assembled behind her. She declares with a bright smile that this time, it is her turn to save Kagami. Kagami is too stunned to respond, his face a mask of pure shock. The bearded adventurer who leads the group looks on with grim determination. He lets out a thunderous roar, rallying the adventurers to protect the city of Salmeria. The adventurers surge forward as one, crashing into the monster horde like a tidal wave. The canyon erupts with the sounds of a renewed and hopeful battle. Kagami watches as they smash a golem, asking if they truly came for them. He is completely overwhelmed with emotion, still reeling from the sudden turn of events. Alice explains that she went to everyone and asked for their help in this desperate hour. The hero begins to narrate how the adventurers had initially lost all hope. A vision of the massive, terrifying monster army shows the source of their despair. She continues her story, explaining what it was that changed their minds. Seeing Kagami's small party fighting so fiercely gave them all the courage to fight again. Alice turns to Kagami, earnestly thanking him for fighting so hard for all of them. Moved and embarrassed, Kagami turns away, scratching the back of his head. The hero watches their quiet exchange with a thoughtful expression on her face. She reflects on how one single, nameless villager's courage moved an entire city. With a soft smile, she thinks that she has never read a hero's tale like this one. The bearded leader is equally surprised and impressed by the incredible turn of events. He lets out a hearty laugh, calling Kagami a truly interesting and amusing villager. Lex, invigorated by the display, declares that he will see this fight to the very end. He leaps into the chasm as Kagami warns Alice to stay back from the dangerous edge. Kagami apologizes internally, knowing he must convey a difficult message directly to her. He gently places a hand on her head, startling her with a sudden, quiet touch. With a soft, sincere smile, he tells her the most incredible thing of all is her existence. As he acknowledges her demonic nature, tears begin to well in her crystalline eyes. He explains it was her prioritization of feelings that ultimately persuaded the humans. He thanks her and gives her head a gentle pat, and she replies with a heartfelt sound of agreement. A desolate, rocky cliffside stands starkly against a starry night sky. Amidst the crags, a party of adventurers confronts a hulking, one-eyed monster. The dark-haired young man, Kagami, smirks as he watches another figure charge into battle. With a confident grin, Kagami announces that he is ready to join the fight. His eyes blaze with intensity as he proclaims his intention to battle with all his might. A blond man leaps into the fray, agreeing that they should go all out. A scarred warrior encourages his comrades to rampage freely, assuring them he'll handle his part. A brutish monster smashes its heavy weapon into the ground with immense force. Kagami lets out a fierce roar, charging headfirst through a horde of skeletal enemies. Two onlookers are stunned by his power, one wondering what that incredible force is. Bracing himself, Kagami faces down a colossal, lizard-like beast that looms over him. The immense scale of the monster is revealed as it towers over the tiny Kagami. He grits his teeth in pain as the creature's powerful attack grazes his arm. His face contorts with rage as he roars in defiance at the beast. The monster's reptilian face is a mask of shock as Kagami counters its assault. With a tremendous heave, Kagami seizes the monster's massive leg, lifting it from the ground. He swings the colossal creature through the air, its body a blur of motion. The other adventurers can only stare in disbelief at the impossible spectacle before them. One warrior exclaims that it's impossible to tell which one is the real monster. Kagami roars a challenge, telling his comrades not to let him get ahead of them. Inspired by his feat, the adventurers let out a unified battle cry and surge forward. A muscular warrior with a shield flexes, preparing to join the renewed assault. He and another armored fighter bring their weapons down on the large beast. A small, satisfied smile touches Kagami's lips as he thinks fondly of his companions. His moment of satisfaction is shattered as a massive fist slams down towards him. The impact pulverizes the ground, creating a crater of jagged rock. Kagami is sent flying backward, tumbling helplessly through the air amidst the debris. He lands hard but immediately begins to push himself up from the rubble. With a defiant roar, Kagami yells for his allies to follow his lead. An adventurer watches in awe, muttering that following that is simply impossible. A dark gradient panel transitions the scene to the aftermath of the battle. A close-up shows blood splattering against a white background, signifying injury. The blonde hero Lex sits slumped and utterly exhausted amidst the chaos. A young girl with pigtails offers him a potion, but he weakly refuses, saying it's no use. A blonde healer approaches Lex, her expression filled with concern, and urges him to rest. Lex, looking weary but resolute, declares he is the hero and must persevere. The healer gently reminds him that retreating is also an act of courage. She insists that he doesn't have to bear the burden of this fight all alone. Lex's gaze drifts past her, a question forming in his eye. He looks across the camp, wondering about the state of their other companion, Kagami. The pigtail girl, Alice, starts to explain Kagami's surprising condition. She points out that Kagami was just resting normally a moment ago. Lex is stunned into silence, a look of utter disbelief on his face. Alice explains that thanks to his auto-recovery skill, Kagami just needs rest. Lex questions what a skill is, asking if it's something gained every 100 levels. Alice thoughtfully explains that Kagami fights by relying on others more than anyone. Lex muses that Kagami can rest so peacefully because he trusts his comrades to protect him. An image flashes, showing Kagami at the center of a brutal, chaotic fight. Lex wonders if they can truly rely on Kagami, thinking he'd never win against him. Alice reveals the truth with a smile, confirming Kagami is indeed level 999. Lex realizes Kagami's power isn't just about his impossibly high level. He concludes Kagami's true strength is his ability to act without being constrained. As Kagami walks away with the child, Lex watches them, deep in thought. The blonde healer quietly agrees with Lex's assessment of Kagami's unique strength. A woman in a witch's hat offers potions to her exhausted companions. She insists that even if the potions are ineffective, they should still drink them. Her gaze falls upon a still twitching monster, a cold, calculating look in her eyes. She thinks to herself that now would be the perfect time to kill them all. A firm hand lands on her shoulder, stopping her from acting on her murderous impulse. The scarred warrior leans in, his voice low but firm, telling her to stop. The witch turns away, a flicker of annoyance crossing her features. The warrior insists she at least hear Kagami's story to the very end. The witch's expression shifts to a sly, dangerous smirk. She purrs that she's looking forward to it, as a cat-eared girl watches in confusion. The witch muses that it will all be over soon enough anyway. A transition panel shows snow or ash falling, setting a somber mood. A new battle scene erupts, with adventurers fighting ferociously against monsters. Kagami, his face determined, declares that he can see their destination ahead. He turns to his weary companions, encouraging them that they're almost there. The ground suddenly lurches violently, shaking the entire canyon with a deep rumble. Kagami cries out, wondering if it's an earthquake, as his party stumbles in alarm. A colossal armored giant rises from a chasm, dwarfing the terrified adventurers. A burly adventurer stares up in paralyzed horror at the immense figure. Kagami's face is a mask of disbelief and dawning, sweat-inducing dread. The giant's voice echoes in their minds, demanding they proceed according to its scenario. A title page shows Kagami and a girl resting peacefully atop a slain beast. The party stares up at the silent, imposing giant, the air thick with tension. A robed figure looks on, wondering if this behemoth is even a monster. Esther, a long-haired man, questions if the giant can be classified as a monster at all. A blonde princess and her knight stare in shock, asking what the creature is. The knight admits she has never seen anything like it in the kingdom's official records. Esther confesses that even he does not know what the creature is. His admission sends a shockwave of disbelief through his companion Manu. Manu is stunned that even a servant of the Demon King would be ignorant of this foe. He notes the creature's immense size is matched by its overwhelming magical power. Manu urgently tells Kagami they must retreat from this overwhelming threat. Kagami shoves Menu's hand away, his eyes blazing with an unyielding resolve. Menu looks on in disbelief as Kagami ignores his plea to fall back. He yells at Kagami, demanding to know what he's doing instead of running away. Kagami's face is a mask of pure, defiant fury as he prepares to act. Menu can only watch, aghast, muttering that Kagami is an idiot for his recklessness. With a raw battle cry, Kagami charges headfirst at the colossal giant. He leaps into the air, a tiny missile of fury against an impossible foe. He is effortlessly swatted out of the air like an insect. The giant's single eye flashes with brilliant, destructive light. Kagami looks up in terror as the energy beam prepares to fire. A massive beam of pure energy erupts from the giant's helmet. The beam carves a deep, molten trench in the unforgiving earth. The blast sends Kagami crashing violently into a nearby rock wall. He slumps to the ground, battered and broken in a crater of rubble. The adventuring party stares at the mountain of rubble, murmuring in disbelief about the person responsible. A bald warrior cries out in utter despair, certain they cannot win and that Salmeria is doomed. The muscular warrior Takako grits his teeth, frustrated that even Kagami was completely helpless. With a look of grave concern etched on his face, Takako shouts Kagami's name. Alice supports the injured Kagami, urging him to pull himself together and drink a potion. Tears stream down Alice's face as she desperately pleads with him to take the healing draft. Kagami weakly looks up, his first thought being to warn Alice of the surrounding danger. Alice insists she is fine, especially when compared to his own terrible condition. A heavy silence falls as the two sit together amidst the utter devastation of the battlefield. Looking down at him, Alice declares with fierce loyalty that she will not run away. A faint pained smile touches Kagami's lips as he hears her heartfelt declaration. He gently pats her head, telling her not to say such reckless things while she's trembling. Kagami is suddenly startled by the appearance of the blonde princess, Kururu. Kururu, blushing furiously, asks in disbelief if he has been unconscious this entire time. She yells that his recklessness is the very reason she worries and trembles with fear. Startled by her outburst, Kagami can only manage a quiet, sheepish apology for his actions. A new understanding dawns in his eyes as he realizes that being alive is a wonderful thing. The party regroups, sitting together amongst the rocks, their figures small against the destruction. Apart from the others, the horned man, Esther, wonders why the plan has gone so wrong. He muses with a smirk that he had expected the heroes' party to be the ones struggling. His gaze falls on Kagami and Alice, and he pointedly asks what kind of person Kagami is. Manu approaches Esther cautiously, his expression questioning, but Esther cuts him off. The imposing Esther stands before Manu, his presence radiating an immense and terrible power. Esther notes Manu's attachment to Alice, his tone laced with cold disapproval. He mockingly asks if Manu is being a loyal subordinate to the Demon Lord. Kagami watches this tense exchange, asking if the two of them are acquaintances. Esther declares his long service and power, second only to the Demon Lord himself. He reveals his full name, Esther Walcott, as a terrified Alice whispers his name. Kagami, having drunk a potion, announces with a grin that he's fully recovered. He boasts that since he was saving his strength, his next efforts will be outstanding. Esther looks down on him with disdain, questioning if he truly intends to continue fighting. Peeking from behind rubble, Kagami declares he'll deal with the golem before facing Esther. He pumps his fist, announcing that he loves a good challenge and is ready to fight. With a fierce battle cry, Kagami charges forward, ready to re-engage the enemy. The tiny figure of Kagami soars through the air, a missile of defiant fury. Esther watches the reckless charge, a silent observer of the unfolding chaos. He reflects on how unusual his opponent is, a simple villager with impossible strength. The truth finally dawns on him as he realizes his foe is level 999. His eyes widen in shock as he struggles to process this impossible information. He wonders why anyone with such power would put so much effort into being a villager. Kururu, the party's archer, stands with Esther, a look of confusion on her face. She asks if a level 999 villager is even a threat, given the class's weakness. Esther confirms that a villager's base stats are pitifully low, a known fact of their world. A max-level villager is still pathetically weak compared to prestigious classes like hero or mage. He realizes Kagami's power must therefore come from his unique set of skills. Esther's gaze sharpens as he looks toward the rubble where Kagami lies. Kururu asks if he knows of any skills Kagami possesses besides his auto-recovery. Esther muses that it's a miracle for Kagami to have such a skill in the first place. He explains that while some villagers reach high levels, their skills are universally useless. The abilities a villager can acquire are, without exception, considered utter garbage. With a faint smile, Esther speculates Kagami's skills must involve strengthening his finger flicks. Kururu and the muscular warrior Takako look on, trying to comprehend the situation. Takako wonders how Esther could possibly know so much about their strange companion. Esther concludes that even with skills, the difference in stats is absolute. He smirks confidently, gesturing for his companions to watch the inevitable outcome. The wreckage suddenly explodes as Takako cries out that Kagami is back. Kururu calls out Kagami's name, noting that he's reached the end of his growth. Esther states that even with skills, this is the absolute limit for a villager. Kagami, however, is far from finished, asking if they truly believe that. With a powerful burst of energy, he launches himself from the dust cloud. He grins fiercely, declaring he will absorb the next attack with a damage reduction ability. Esther watches Kagami chug a potion, noting his impressive endurance. He acknowledges that Kagami must possess a rare skill to survive this long. He advises Kagami to give up while he still has his life, his tone dismissive. Kagami repeats Esther's words, asking if he's sure he shouldn't just kill them instead. Esther coldly states his only goal is to make Salmeria surrender, killing anyone who interferes. Kagami looks disgusted by the casual cruelty of Esther's objective. Esther tells Kagami to surrender the city like an adult, as he has no interest in his life. Just as the tension peaks, a small figure runs between them, screaming Esther's name. Alice pleads with him to stop, insisting her father would never want this. She begs him to speak with her father one more time, certain he would understand. Esther looks down at her, his expression hardening, knowing she speaks the truth. A memory of the Demon Lord's true wish for peace flashes through his mind. He turns to the giant golem, announcing he will ask the Demon Lord directly. Alice looks on in horror, whispering in disbelief at his terrifying decision. The golem's fist slams down, and Esther reveals he has been weakening its power. He explains his goal was to weaken it enough to control it with his own might. Alice lets out a terrified scream for her father, the king trapped within. Her cry is filled with raw terror, as she stares at the unfolding horror. Esther stands before the golem, repeating that the demon lord does not wish for this battle. His face contorts with crazed ambition as he screams that he is the one who desires war. A title page shows a past image of a younger Alice with Esther and her father. The demon lord is shown being sealed within the dark armor of the golem. A memory of the dark cosmic prison flashes, showing the demon lord's entrapment. The seal is shown being placed upon the giant golem, trapping the demon lord inside. The party is stunned into silence, a collective question mark hanging over them. Alice screams Esther's name, asking why he would do such a thing. Kagami repeats Esther's insane proclamation, his face a mask of fury. He finally understands that Alice's father is trapped inside the black armor. The golem is revealed to be an ancient annihilation weapon named Messiah. Esther explains it was created with the demon lord's power to destroy humanity. Kagami struggles to process that they were fighting a world-ending weapon. Esther looks on, his expression cold and calculating, as Kagami puts the pieces together. Kagami's gaze hardens with resolve, his path forward now crystal clear. He realizes the demon lord is being forced to pilot the weapon against his will. Esther confirms this, a smug look on his face as he watches the drama unfold. Kagami's objective shifts. He must now save Salmaria and the demon lord. He gently pats Alice's head, explaining he must help her father, his sworn friend. Esther notes that Kagami still seems to view the demon race with hostility. With a final reassuring rustle of Alice's hair, Kagami's resolve is set. With a determined glint in his eye, he declares he will not give up on his opponent. Kagami tells a worried Alice that whatever their enemy tries will ultimately be impossible. A sharp look of resolve shines in his eye as he prepares to make his move. He charges forward with immense force, roaring that he will never, ever give up. Watching the reckless charge, Rex remarks on what a troublesome person Kagami is. Kagami soars through the air, a tiny figure against the colossal armored giant. Just as he is about to strike the titan, his expression shifts to one of surprise. The golem's massive fist crashes down, burying Kagami under a mountain of rock and rubble. His companions scream his name in terror, their faces masks of shock and disbelief. A hand reaches from the debris as he weakly asks for a healing potion. Battered and bruised, Kagami looks up at his shocked companions, thinking about them. Rex is astonished, wondering how Kagami is still able to stand after that attack. The golem strikes again, its fist crashing down with even greater merciless force. The impact is immense, shattering the ground with a powerful crunching sound. Dust and debris explode outwards from the point of the devastating second blow. Alice and the healer watch in utter horror, tears streaming down their faces. Pushing against the immense weight, Kagami roars that he is going for one more attack. Rex stares in disbelief, his mind reeling from Kagami's impossible display of strength. He notices a subtle change, murmuring that the golem somehow feels weaker than before. With a final surge of power, Kagami forces the golem's massive arm upwards, staggering it. His expression is one of grim, focused determination as he unleashes his hidden strength. The colossal golem stumbles backward, completely thrown off balance by his incredible push. The backlash sends Kagami tumbling violently across the jagged landscape. Rex's jaw drops, a shocked exclamation escaping him as he witnesses the impossible. The entire party is stunned, asking in disbelief if his desperate gambit actually worked. The golem's armored form cracks and breaks under the immense focused pressure. He is thrown back once more, a fragile figure against the immense power he has faced. Alice watches with wide, terrified eyes as he is violently flung through the air. The impact leaves a crater of shattered rock, a testament to the battle's ferocity. Kagami lies amidst the rubble as Rex looks on, his form seeming to disintegrate. Rex questions if Kagami is truly a mere villager, as his companions rush forward. The witch confronts Kagami's companions, demanding to know what he did to them. With a pained grin, Kagami explains that his success required a great deal of effort. Alice rushes to his side, pleading with him not to push himself any further. The healers confess in despair that potions no longer work and their magic is spent. The small party stands before the immense silent golem, their situation dire. A memory flashes through his mind of Alice asking if he must save his father. The sudden recollection startles him, his eyes widening in confusion. The witch confronts him, asking why he insists on fighting with such abandon. She observes that he has used healing magic, despite his claims of weakness. She demands he explain his reckless actions and his reasons for fighting. His companions watch the tense exchange in silence, waiting for his answer. Defeated for the moment, Kagami agrees to explain himself, letting out a weary groan. The witch delivers an ultimatum threatening to withhold healing if he remains silent. He sits up looking toward the sky as he prepares to reveal his tragic past. He begins his tale explaining it all started when a monster killed his parents. His memory is a blur of darkness and fragmented light, representing his deep trauma. The abstract patterns continue, symbolizing the chaos of his early life. As a boy, he was filled with frustration over his weakness as a simple villager. He found a way to become stronger by tirelessly hunting and killing monsters. He discovered that killing monsters was the most efficient way to earn money and live. As he continued this cycle, a profound question began to swell in his mind. His face is cold and intense as he asks why monsters exist in the first place. He questions why they drop money that can be used in human towns. His companions are perplexed by these fundamental questions about their world. The witch asks about roles, and Rex wonders why roles determine one's strength. Rex ponders the existence of the status window, asking its true purpose. Kagami rages against the arbitrary rules of levels, experience, and skills. The witch admits his line of questioning is incomprehensible to her. Rex is deeply shaken, questioning if the world is truly built this way. His eyes reflect the deep pain of the truth he has uncovered. He reveals the devastating secret. His mother was killed by humans, not monsters. Alice is horrified, realizing his mother was neither demon nor monster. A diagram shows the endless cycle of hatred between humans and demons. The system is designed so that killing monsters leads to human prosperity. He couldn't accept living in a world that forced him to kill to survive. He never questioned it because it was presented as the natural order of things. He felt like he was being guided, forced to fight by his assigned role. He explains he was completely oblivious to the system's manipulation. Rex is stunned, unable to process the implications of Kagami's words. He touches his forehead, his own identity as a hero now thrown into question. He suggests Rex's declarations of being a hero were to convince himself. Rex wonders if he ever had a choice, or if he too was trapped by his role. The large martial artist listens to the exchange with a thoughtful expression. Kagami screams that he wants to be able to choose his own destiny. He passionately declares his wish to become the person he truly wants to be. He rails against the world system, which actively obstructs his desire for freedom. He explains that he fell into despair when he finally reached level 999. The meter needed to reach the next level simply disappeared from his status. His party is shocked, unable to understand why he'd want to be even stronger. He was furious that his limits were decided for him by another. Rex stares at Kagami, who stands alone in the desolate landscape. Rex asks if he will continue fighting, even knowing he has reached his limit. He recalls noticing that a new skill had appeared when he reached level 999. He explains that this small detail gave a tangible answer to his questions. A subtle ping of awareness echoes in his mind as the memory solidifies. He reveals his secret skill, Challenger of God, which allows endless growth. Rex is utterly shocked by the existence of such a limit-breaking skill. He holds up his hand, declaring this skill is his right to challenge fate. He roars that he will defeat the God who created this world for freedom. His companions are stunned into silence by his powerful, rebellious declaration. Alice realizes that as long as he fights, his growth skill is always active. Rex realizes with horror that Kagami has been gaining experience by fighting him. His declaration spent, Kagami stumbles to his knees, his potions and energy gone. His companions look on, questioning his state with deep concern. Rex watches the scene unfold, a bead of sweat tracing down his temple. Gritting his teeth, Kagami pushes through the immense pain, his body failing. A massive explosion of power erupts from his body, shattering the ground. His companions are thrown back by the sheer force of his power release. Rex stares in disbelief, shocked that Kagami still possesses such power. With a look of sheer disbelief, Rex demands to know if there is still more to come. Q stands amidst swirling energy, announcing a skill he can't normally use, Limit Release. His eyes gleam with understanding as he realizes he can gain double the power for a short time. Rex expresses his shock at this revelation, noting that Q will be near death after using it. Wreathed in a dark aura, Q declares with grim finality that this will be his last stand. He hurtles forward with a mighty roar, challenging his colossal foe to a contest of pure strength. The impact is apocalyptic as Kyu's fist connects with the Messiah's armored form. The force of his own blow sends Q flying backward through the air like a discarded doll. Under the immense force of the strike, the gigantic Messiah staggers and loses its footing. Q is propelled high into the sky, a tiny silhouette against the chaotic backdrop. He screams in defiance, raging against the world's predetermined growth limit of level 999. Continuing his furious rant, He calls the very system of the world a cruel joke. Twisting in midair, he roars with absolute conviction that he will decide his own limits. In a blinding flash of white light, he crashes down upon the Messiah, a single strike that surpasses all limits. The Messiah's massive armored form smokes and cracks under the force of the devastating final blow. Battered and broken, Q lies motionless amidst the rubble, his energy completely spent. Through blurry eyes, he looks up with a weak but triumphant smile, managing a simple greeting. An older, bearded man, Barna, emerges from the wreckage, and Q breathes his title, Master. The entire party lies scattered and exhausted, a quiet tableau of survival in the battle's aftermath. A young girl, Alice, looks toward the broken form of the Messiah and calls out for her father. Q rushes to the side of the injured Barna, as Alice also runs toward them in a panic. Barna's weary eyes flutter open as he weakly murmurs his daughter Alice's name in recognition. Tears of relief fill Alice's eyes as she whispers her father's name, overjoyed to see him alive. Q lets out a shaky breath, whispering his relief that Barna has survived the ordeal. As he tries to stand, his legs give out with a sudden collapse, and Alice cries his name in alarm. He admits with a pained smile that he can't move, stating this is the price for his ultimate skill. Alice looks on with concern as Q's eyes roll back, the strain finally overwhelming him. The other party members rest wearily amongst the rocks, tending to their various wounds. Barna, propped against a boulder, looks over at a now conscious Q with a thoughtful expression. Q looks back at his old master, his own face a mixture of exhaustion and sincere affection. Barna remarks that it's been a while, and that Q has caused him quite a bit of trouble. Q grins weakly, joking that it's only natural since Barna is his sworn friend. Barna falls silent, processing the strange but heartfelt logic of the young man. He thinks back 9 years, musing on how strange it is for this boy to call a demon his friend. Sitting beside Q, Barna remarks that he is, as always, a very strange villager. Alice looks up at her father, her expression filled with profound love and worry. He gently tells her not to worry, and she quietly agrees, her trust in him absolute. With a pained expression, Alice explains to her father that Q was the one who saved them all. The entire party suddenly tenses, their brief moment of respite shattered by the arrival of new figures. Barna's gaze hardens as he looks towards the approaching party with caution. Rex looks on with suspicion, wondering if this is another hero party arriving on the scene. The witch-hatted woman looks down at the injured Barna, coldly asking if he wants her to kill him. Rex interjects, stating that for the moment, he has no intention of killing him. The witch snaps at Rex, her voice sharp with anger as she questions what he is even saying. She declares that she must kill the demon lord, as she lacks the magical power to seal him away. Her gaze is fixed on Barna, as she demands to know if he will surrender or resist her. Barna meets her gaze, his own resolve firm as he confirms that he will resist. With a long, weary sigh, he states that he supposes there is no other way. The witch is stunned into silence, her eyes wide with disbelief at his sudden acceptance of his fate. Rex lunges forward, screaming at them to stop, vowing that he won't let it happen while he's alive. Alice cries out the witch's name, Barna-san, Zrenya, her voice filled with terror and despair. Barna instinctively moves to shield his daughter Alice from the impending, tragic confrontation. Alice looks on, her eyes wide with fear and welling with tears at the unfolding horror. The king's sudden arrival interrupts the tense standoff, his presence halting the fight. The witch Barna turns to see the king, her hand resting on a nearby rock wall in surprise. The horned demon Menu respectfully calls out to her master, the demon lord Estelar. The king expresses his pride and disgust, noting that Alice has such a subordinate. He continues, his gaze intense and full of unspoken meaning as he addresses Estelar. The king directly confronts Estelar, demanding to know what his true intentions are. Estelar remains silent, a faint, unreadable, and mocking smile playing on his lips. He cryptically states that even if they wait, the next one won't be appearing for a while. The king is left utterly bewildered, wondering aloud what next Estelar is referring to. Kagami understands perfectly, realizing his secret plan to create a crisis is now at risk. Estelar turns back with a sly grin, offering to teach them a way to get a hint. He declares that there is only one method, leaving the entire group in suspense. Kagami's eyes widen in shock, the gravity of the statement crashing down on him. The king reveals the shocking hint. The only way forward is to kill the demon lord. Rex and Alice are stunned, questioning what the king could possibly mean by such a command. Kagami touches his chin, puzzling over the hint and wondering what game Estelar is truly playing. He stares at the impassive Estelar, trying to decipher his true hidden motive. A memory of him holding back his power during an attack on a human town flashes in his mind. He realizes, with dawning horror, that the world's creator might be waiting for him to get serious. He looks up, his mind made up, a new and defiant plan forming in his thoughts. His eyes narrow with sharp resolve as he prepares to make his stand. He shouts his refusal, dropping to one knee in a gesture of defiance. Looking up at the king, he declares with absolute certainty that he will not kill the demon lord. From a distance, Esteller sighs, stating that he knew this would happen, and that's why it's so troublesome. He dismisses Kagami's moral dilemma, stating he has no concern for his convenience. Kagami argues that killing a friend for a hint would be playing by the world's cruel rules. Esteller looks on from his perch, seemingly impressed by the young man's conviction. The king asks for the other hint, and Kagami turns his expectant gaze towards Esteller. Estellar's eye glints with a sly, knowing look as he prepares to reveal the alternative. He tells the party that the other hint is a nameless, high-priced item that is currently being sold in town. Kagami is momentarily confused, scratching his head as he tries to recall such an item. An image of the mysterious 10,000 gold treasure chest flashes in his mind with sudden clarity. He exclaims that it must be that item, and Esteller notes that he already knew about it. Esteller begins to say, "in that case," but the conversation is violently cut short. Kagami shouts in alarm, calling out to the king with a look of horror. The king is struck by an invisible force, and Alice cries out for her father in terror. Esteller stands with his arms outstretched, revealing himself as the clear source of the attack. Kagami rounds on him, demanding to know what he is doing and what his true identity is. He furiously questions if Esteller isn't supposed to be on Alice's side. Esteller calmly states that this terrible fate was imposed upon his subordinate. He unleashes a torrent of dark energy, declaring a 1-year time limit and his custody of the Demon Lord. He directs his chilling threat squarely at Kagami, his words carried on the swirling energy. His face cracks under the strain of his own power as he warns that if Kagami doesn't reach him, he will use the Demon Lord's power to wage all-out war against humanity. He vanishes, leaving a final, ominous promise that next time, one of them will die. The king and Alice look on in shock and despair at the new, terrifying reality. With a gentle touch, Kagami places a comforting hand on the small, red-haired Alice's head. His expression hardens with intense resolve, his mind fixed on the 1-year time limit. The blonde girl, Kururu, looks at him with concern, asking what their plan is now. After a moment of quiet contemplation, Kagami looks up, a decisive idea finally formed. His companions watch intently, with Alice swallowing nervously as she senses a change. A brilliant, confident smile spreads across Kagami's face as he announces his grand strategy. The entire group stares back at him, their faces frozen in synchronized, utter shock. From the desolate landscape, their collective cry of disbelief echoes across the rocks. A title page for the 4th volume shows a peaceful moment with Kagami and his friends. The story resumes with the title page for episode 16, depicting Kagami and Alice dynamically. Their journey brings them to the front of a bar in Valmon, also known as Takako's shop. Inside, Kagami addresses his assembled party, explaining why he has gathered them. Rex recaps their grim situation, noting only 10 months remain to meet Esteller's deadline. With passionate energy, Kagami reiterates his plan to open a grand casino to raise funds. The armored man, Rex, voices his doubt, noting that the opening is fast approaching. Kagami looks away, a bead of sweat on his face as he prepares to confess his oversight. He admits with a sheepish look that he has not yet recruited any staff for the casino. The group reacts with synchronized horror, their faces a mask of disbelief and panic. Valmon's shock quickly turns to fury as he bellows that Kagami is an idiot. With a fresh bump on his head, Kagami weakly protests that he did think about it. A flashback reveals his flawed logic, assuming Valmon was full of wealthy, carousing patrons. He tries to reassure Valmon that they will make a fortune once they secure the staff. Unconvinced, Valmon's eyes flash with pure, unadulterated rage at Kagami's foolishness. He violently shakes Kagami, demanding to know how he thought he could manage a shop. His tirade continues, questioning who could possibly train new staff in such a short time. Valmon hammers home the logistical nightmares of supplies and cooking, demanding answers. Kagami slumps in his chair, utterly defeated, while Tina looks on with weary resignation. Tina admits it was their own fault for entrusting everything to Kagami in the first place. She asks him how much more money they need to reach their 10,000 gold goal. The remaining party members are shown, with text confirming they have only 5,000 gold left. A memory reveals Rex questioning Kagami's decision to buy land for a castle, In a chibi flashback, Kagami celebrates his meager earnings from 2 months of dungeon crawling. Tina, trembling with frustration, reminds Kagami of his most critical, unforgivable mistake. With a triumphant cry, Kagami announces the successful completion of his project. He presents Menu with a special cloth he created to hide her demonic magic. Menu's face breaks into a sly grin, overjoyed to finally serve her master again. Their hope fades as Kagami and Menu slump in despair, watched by a disappointed Kururu. Valmon furiously reminds them that one more person won't solve their immense staffing problem. After a moment of quiet contemplation, Kururu takes a breath, preparing to speak. Her expression hardens with resolve as she states they have no choice but to proceed. She outlines their impossible goal: gather a huge staff and earn 5,000 gold. Meno grits her teeth, agreeing that while it's madness, they must still try. The hero Rex boasts that his charisma will solve everything, which Tina finds ridiculous. Kagami laments that their most reliable member, Barna, is no longer with their party. A new thought dawns in Kururu's eyes as she observes their strange group. Despite their dire situation, she feels a surprising happiness seeing humans and demons cooperating. A wistful look crosses her face as she wishes she could share this with her father. The desolate landscape serves as a reminder that her father was taken away by Estelar. Estelar had set a 1-year time limit to find the world's great secret. If they fail, Estelar will use her father's power to attack humanity once more. The key to preventing this is a mysterious item costing a staggering 10,000 gold. Back in the present, the weight of their quest hangs heavy in the quiet room. Kagami suddenly announces his departure, shocking Rex, Kururu, and Alice mid-meal. The witch Barna declares she has no reason to stay now that her mission has changed. She tells Kagami she will return, putting their conversation on hold until that time. With a final wave, Barna walks away, leaving the party's future uncertain. Tina is distraught by Barna's departure, and Kagami admits he feels a little lonely. He turns to the remaining members, asking what they will do now. Kururu explains that as a novice, her initial thought was to simply follow Rex. Rex, however, states that he will entrust the final decision to Kururu. She reflects on her past, having been raised as a princess inside a castle. Kagami helped her realize that the common sense she was taught was flawed. With a new fire in her eyes, she offers to help them in Barna's stead. Kagami is taken aback, and Rex suddenly offers his own help as well. Rex's gaze is serious as he explains his own change of heart to them. He stuns Kagami and Alice by declaring he no longer cares about being the Demon Lord. With a serious expression, Rex tells Kururu he has never truly lived for himself. Kagami looks up in surprise as Rex says he has proven something unmeasurable by roles. Tears in his eyes, Rex passionately declares Kagami showed him the value of another path. Pointing to himself, Kagami questions if the hero would truly follow a mere villager. Rex calmly reminds Kagami that he was the one who said roles and lineage don't matter. Between a smiling Alice, Rex decides to call Kagami Master, but Kagami begs him not to. A flustered Kagami cannot believe the hero's party is truly cooperating with him. He realizes that to move forward, he must abandon his old ways of thinking. Rex teasingly offers to help his new master practice, calling him selfish. Kagami hides his face in embarrassment as Rex jokingly blames him for their current situation. Kururu and Tina watch in frustration as Kururu shouts for them to get moving. With a look of panic, Kururu reminds everyone that time is short and they must recruit staff. Rex turns to his companions, suggesting a place for them to start their recruitment drive. He proposes using the same plaza where they first recruited their own adventuring party. Kagami's face lights up with renewed determination as he agrees to the plan. A close-up shows Alice's resolute, wide-eyed expression. Kururu's determined and slightly worried face is highlighted. Tina looks on with a weary and somewhat annoyed expression. Rex's confident profile is shown as he commits to the new plan. Kagami enthusiastically declares that he will go to the plaza to recruit staff with them. Rex confidently tells a horned girl to leave it to him, but she is shocked. The group lets out a unified cheer, though one of them thinks they don't understand. From the side, Valmon observes skeptically, thinking it won't be that simple. The scene focuses on the empty cobblestone ground of the plaza. A sign hanging on a stone wall identifies the location as Valmon Plaza. Valmon watches the bustling crowd, wondering why, despite the numbers, no one is approaching. At their recruitment booth, Kagami wails in despair, having failed to attract a single applicant. From a distance, Rex complains that not even his handsome face is working. Kururu and Tina express their frustration that even beautiful girls aren't drawing interest. A defeated Kagami wonders what he did wrong as Alice questions his entire way of thinking. Their poorly written flyer promises a girlfriend and lottery winnings, sounding highly suspicious. Alice watches Kagami walk away, worried he's being pushed into a corner. A mysterious mustached man observes the solitary Alice from the shadows of an alley. With hands clasped, a figure watches a child depart, who quietly worries about their future. A young girl with reddish-brown hair stands with her head bowed, looking utterly dejected. From behind, she offers a meek apology, explaining that she wasn't paying attention. A tall, impeccably dressed man with a prominent mustache looks down on her condescendingly. Watching from a distance, a young man's eye widens with confusion and concern. Episode 17 begins, showing the girl intensely focused on writing, flanked by her two companions. On a cobblestone street, the mustached man, David, observes the group with a severe expression. The girl, Alice, suddenly looks up, her face a mask of shock at spotting him. David's stern demeanor shatters, his face breaking into an expression of unrestrained, tearful joy. He exclaims how lovely the young lady is, much to her utter bewilderment. Overcome with emotion, David declares that she is just like an angel from heaven. The protagonist's eye widens in alarm as he rushes towards the strange scene. He calls out Alice's name as she stands frozen before the emotional man. Placing a protective hand on her shoulder, he asks David if he is all right. Wiping a tear from his eye, David apologizes profusely for his inexcusable behavior. With a flourish, he formally introduces himself to them as David Foreign. A status box confirms his identity, David Foreign, a level 77 merchant. The protagonist is surprised to be identified as a servant of the Hexaldria Kingdom. David reveals he has come specifically to welcome a certain Lady Kururu. The young man looks down at the girl, realizing her true identity is Kururu. In a flashback, a furious Kururu confronts David in a crowded street. David's face contorts in horror at her sudden, public accusation. She points at him, loudly denouncing him as a pervert to the entire healing guild. Kururu specifies that he was staring intently at a poor, innocent young girl. The surrounding crowd turns on David, murmuring about the pervert with dead, vacant eyes. He frantically tries to insist that it's all a terrible misunderstanding. A large city guard grabs him, stating he'll have to come to the station. The protagonist, seeing the chaos, yells for his party to run away. Kururu suddenly shouts for the guards to release David, insisting he did nothing wrong. The protagonist is left completely stunned by her sudden change of heart. David is equally bewildered by her intervention, his face a mask of confusion. In the present, Kururu explains her simple reasoning for her actions. She states that after some thought, she decided what she did was for the best. The protagonist clutches his chest, pained by her righteousness, as David looks on, flustered. With his eyes closed in relief, David expresses his profound gratitude for being saved. Standing over the small hooded girl, he remarks on her magnificent presence despite her youth. Kururu looks up at the man, a sly and confident smile gracing her features. David's pleasant expression vanishes, replaced by a sharp seriousness as he looks up. With a thoughtful hum, David acknowledges Kagami's presence as the young man watches him. A close-up on Kagami's eye reveals his intense focus as his mind races. The conversation shifts as a new line of questioning is about to begin. Adjusting his cravat, David's demeanor turns severe as he demands to know their intentions. Kagami, flustered, thinks that getting involved is a pain, but suspects an ulterior motive. With a knowing smirk, David notes that Kagami isn't just making excuses to flee. A woman with an elaborate hairstyle arrives, announcing that she has business with their group. The woman is revealed to be Devitt, her profile sharp and imposing. Kururu and Rex are utterly shocked, demanding to know why Devitt is here. The attendant calls out to Kururu, her face a mask of unsettling adoration. Her expression twists with creepy delight as she gushes about Kururu's beauty. Horrified, Kagami realizes she's a pervert, while Rex calmly explains this is normal for her. Rex politely greets Lord Devitt, trying to de-escalate the awkward situation. To avoid a scene, Devitt agrees with Rex's suggestion to move to a private location. A quiet affirmation hangs in the air as they agree to relocate the discussion. The group moves their tense conversation to the quiet interior of a local cafe. Sipping her tea, Kururu asks Devitt to explain the purpose of his visit. Devitt smiles, turning the question back on her and asking why she is here. Rex apologizes for his rudeness before explaining their presence in the city. He reveals they received a report that Kururu was staying in town, not continuing her quest. A close-up on Kururu's eye shows her utter shock upon hearing this news. Rex realizes with dawning horror that Devitt must have come to take Kururu back. Devitt assures them he won't force her back as long as she is on her quest. Kururu begins to passionately explain their current situation and need for further training. She states they must retrain and gather funds in order to defeat the Demon King. Gesturing to a confused Kagami, she introduces him as their LV-999 villager companion. She declares that her judgment is to stay and grow stronger, her objective unchanged. Kururu asks Devitt to relay her message as Rex silently congratulates her convincing speech. Devitt reveals he received a report that they were being deceived by a troublesome villager. In a private room, Devitt explains to Kagami's group that rumors of the Salmeria incident have spread throughout the country. With a serious expression, Kagami states that he remembers the people Devitt is referring to. Losing his patience, Kagami slams the table and demands Devitt explain the entire situation. Devitt's female attendant clears her throat, preparing to elaborate for the tense group. She confirms their primary mission was to retrieve Lady Kururu, who looks shocked by the news. Devitt adds with a sly look that their orders change if her actions deviate from her original purpose. Kagami quickly fabricates a cover story, claiming they are preparing to hunt the missing demon lord. To verify their claims, Devitt imposes a condition. He will monitor them for at least a month. Kagami laments the stress of being watched, while the girl beside him offers a placating smile. Devitt's gaze sharpens as he shifts the topic of conversation to a more serious matter. He admits that until he saw it for himself, he couldn't believe Kagami's immense power. Devitt speculates that with Kagami's strength, resolving the Salmeria incident and defeating the Demon Lord would be easy. The young women in the party listen with deep concern. Kagami explodes in rage, calling Devitt a bastard and telling him not to make light of the villagers' sacrifices. Alice recalls the hard-fought battle they barely survived thanks to everyone's combined magical support. Kagami furiously reminds Devitt that the enemy in Salmeria was a mere subordinate. The Demon Lord himself would be impossible to defeat. Slamming his fist on the table, Kagami reveals he's uncovered Devitt's true scheme, to use him to train Kururu. With his plan exposed, Kagami grins triumphantly while Devitt looks on, sweating. Devitt, having been caught, seems to concede the point with a quiet acknowledgement. He smoothly pivots, asking if they are recruiting people for their new venture. Now sitting behind a desk, Devitt offers his assistance to the surprised Kagami and Kururu. He slyly declares he will be more than a supervisor. He will act as Lady Kururu's personal familiar. The scene shifts to the imposing stone buildings of the city. A sign indicates their location is now Valmont Plaza. A large, stern-looking man from Kagami's party arrives at the plaza to check on their progress. He finds the plaza unexpectedly swarmed with people crowding their recruitment booths. The stern man, bewildered, wonders what kind of magic the youths could have possibly used. He finds Devitt observing the scene with a smug, self-satisfied laugh. The stern man watches Devitt from the crowd, wondering who this new figure is. Kururu confronts Devitt, demanding to know what he did to attract so many people. Devitt calmly explains that he simply added a little something to their recruitment flyers. The revised flyer now welcomes beginners and promises a training period, reassuring potential applicants. Impressed by the clear and sincere ad, Kururu asks Devitt to help them manage the casino. From behind a dark-haired person, they call out in surprise to a cloaked figure. A small girl named Kururu happily informs a stern-looking man, Takako, that their efforts were a success. Another woman explains that their good fortune is thanks to Devitt, who helped them secure staff. The impeccably dressed Devitt formally introduces himself, much to the surprise of Takako. Takako is visibly impressed by Devitt, thinking to himself that he is a very capable man. With a sharp look, Takako concludes that Devitt is not a bad person after all. Takako formally introduces himself in turn, stating he looks forward to working with Devitt. The young man, Kagami, looks on with annoyance, questioning their making decisions without him. Kururu assigns Kagami to monster hunting duty, which she insists is the best role for him. A cheerful new recruit begins dragging Kagami away, promising to wake him every morning. Kagami is caught uncomfortably between a smirking Devitt and an exasperated blonde girl, Alice. Kagami looks down at the healer, Rex, who appears startled by his sudden attention. Rex kindly tells Kagami not to bully his master, the girl who had just dragged him away. With a playful jab, Kagami suggests Rex should be cleaning the toilets instead of hunting. From a distance, Alice remarks to Devitt on how well the two of them seem to get along. Alice confides in Devitt that she feels he is like family to Kururu, having served her for so long. Kagami, lost in his own thoughts, begins to wonder about Devitt's true motives. He finds Devitt's close surveillance over the past month to be deeply suspicious and unsettling. He questions Devitt's sincerity, wondering if he has truly abandoned the Demon King's subjugation. Devitt appears silently behind Alice, delivering a chilling warning to be careful around Kagami. His expression is cold and calculating, a stark contrast to his usual cheerful demeanor. The scene transitions to the grand architecture of the royal capital of Hekeldotria. Inside the vast throne room, King Simon expresses his disbelief over a report concerning Kururu. The king, identified as Simon Hekeldotria, declares that he cannot bring himself to believe the story. Kneeling before him, the witch Varna speaks of a level 999 villager and a peace-seeking demon. She insists that what she has reported, however unbelievable, is the absolute truth. Varna warns the king that this truth will lead to an outcome different from his desires. She urges him to make a firm decision based on this new and unexpected reality. The king remains deeply skeptical, refusing to blindly accept such a convenient, one-sided tale. He addresses the kneeling woman by name, his gaze fixed upon her. He questions what kind of person this villager is to have so completely swayed Varna. Varna looks up, her expression questioning his accusation of her being brainwashed. The king suggests that her time with the villager has been a form of strict education. He wonders why she wasn't swayed before, given the villager's supposed powerful influence. He accuses her of fabricating the report in the hopes of gaining wealth and status. Varna dismisses his accusation as foolish and utterly ridiculous. Standing tall, she declares that she has no need for either wealth or status. Her expression becomes troubled as she confesses to being drawn to something incomprehensible. Leaning forward, the king demands to know what it is she truly desires. Varna's eye narrows with a chilling, cold intensity, her resolve hardening. She reveals her one all-consuming wish, a world where the demon race does not exist. The king recoils, his face a mask of pure shock and horror at her declaration. Varna turns to leave, stating she is relieved the investigation is over, and she has sent a scout ahead. As she walks away down the long hall, she says a final, "Well then." The king mutters about the troublesome burden she has taken on as the throne room door shuts. Alone in the corridor, Varna stands silently for a brief, heavy moment. Her body suddenly begins to tremble violently, her hands clenching into tight fists. She clutches her chest, her face contorted in agony from a deep internal conflict. Her mind flashes with images of her friends, Kagami with a child, Takako, Kururu, and Alice. Her memories include the faces of Rex and the other companions she has grown to know. Her thoughts turn grimly to the demon race, her face twisting with an old hatred. A memory surfaces of her younger self kneeling over her dead master, thinking they must be destroyed. A new chapter begins, showing a happier memory of her and her master sharing sandwiches in a library. The story returns to the Royal Capital Library, where a young Varna looks on thoughtfully. A caption identifies the girl as a 9-year-old Varna. She is seen walking alone through the vast, empty library halls, a small and solitary figure. A narration explains that magic is born from knowledge and the power of imagination. It is the ability to manifest images from one's mind through the body's magic circuits. Without the technical skill to control it, magic simply cannot be activated. A young Varna sits at a library table surrounded by books, looking profoundly bored. As a young magic user, she was instructed to constantly read to expand her knowledge. This meant she was forced to go to the library every single day. With a weary sigh, she runs a hand through her hair, wondering aloud if she truly hates books. A boy with large, round glasses suddenly appears before her and 2 other children. She asks who he is, and he retorts that he, too, was forced to be there against his will. He notices her prominent glasses, asking what the matter is with a curious look. He slides a dark, ornately decorated book across the table towards her. He suggests that if she hates her current book, she should try reading this one instead. She looks at him suspiciously, thinking the library is only for learning magic. She stares at the mysterious book, wondering what kind of person he is. A close-up shows her eyeing him with a mixture of suspicion and intrigue. He smiles cheerfully, noting that in the end, it's still just a book. He warns her not to get angry, lest she be reprimanded, prompting her to wonder by whom. He gently points out that her parents are not there, and neither are his. His words seem to strike a chord with the lonely girl, and she looks up, surprised. With a soft smile, he flips the book open for her. The page reveals a breathtakingly intricate and beautiful illustration of a fantastical creature. Her eyes widen in absolute astonishment and wonder at the magical image. She recalls this was their first meeting, with the boy who always had a gentle smile. After that day, she reflects, she no longer hated the library quite so much. A blank panel signifies the passage of time and a shift in their relationship. The boy declares with youthful energy that he hates being cooped up. Varna narrates that he was a genius with incredible knowledge and technical skill. To satisfy his boundless curiosity, He would investigate anything, and she would tag along. She watches from behind a rock as he calmly faces down a large, tusked monster. She eventually began to look up to him, calling him Shishu, or master. She realized with wonder that there were so many things that could not be learned from books. Her master, she recalls, was driven by a powerful desire to know everything. He spoke of his grand ideals and acted with conviction to make them a reality. Their time together, she reflects, felt both long and short. The scene shifts to a peaceful courtyard with a large shady tree. Varna is utterly shocked by a sudden and audacious proposal from her master. He has just suggested, with a calm smile, that they seek an exchange with the demon tribe. He believes that if humans and demons could join hands, the world would become richer and more peaceful. Varna argues back, questioning if there aren't other, safer ways to learn about the demons. He insists that true understanding is impossible without taking the time to connect with one another. She looks at him, knowing there are things about his vision she cannot comprehend. Her master's desire to know more was born from his many previous encounters with the demons. A transition panel indicates the continuation of his grand, idealistic vision. He believed that by sharing knowledge, they could even learn to control monster spawning. Varna argues that it's too dangerous, but a part of her believes he could actually succeed. A single tear escapes the young girl's eye as she whispers a word of doubt. She recalls her master's confident smile, wondering if he could truly achieve the impossible. In her memory, her master resolutely began his journey to initiate contact with the demon tribe. They traveled together in a simple, rattling horse-drawn cart through the woods. Upon arriving at the demon village, the girl watches from a distance as her master approaches. A sharp-featured demon man angrily demands to know why humans have invaded their space. Her master steps forward calmly to address the gathered demon villagers. He explains his peaceful intentions for a cultural exchange, but is met with immediate angry refusal. Undeterred by their hostility, her master patiently continued to visit the demon village. He explains his simple desire to share his everyday life with them as a gift. The demon villagers watch him with suspicion, questioning his true motives. He repeatedly tried to persuade them, his small figure gesturing with great passion. The demon's initial hostility softened into weary resignation, one muttering that he's back again. A demon woman and her child watch as he arrives once more, announcing his return. Eventually, the demons grew accustomed to his presence, their expressions softening. The scene shows the humble, thatched roof buildings of the demon village. The master smiles, noting to a demon man that they've finally gotten used to him. The demon villagers laugh as the master joins in their work, hammering alongside them. Believing the time is right, he smiles, feeling confident that he can proceed. The girl looks on, a silent question in her eyes, wondering what he will do next. He gathers all the villagers, calling out to them from across the rocky terrain. He explains that since they taught him so much, he now wants them to learn about humans. With a serious expression, the girl recalls his audacious proposal to invite them to a human village. The demon villagers listen in heavy silence, their faces unreadable. He passionately insists that he will absolutely not cause them any harm, begging them to believe him. One of the demons turns to their elder, the village chief, awaiting his decision. After a moment of thought, the elder gives a small nod, agreeing to the proposal. The girl looks on in stunned silence as the master's hands clench in excitement. Overcome with joy, he shouts that they succeeded and pulls the girl into a tight hug. She is startled by his sudden embrace, but is carried along by his triumphant cry. The girl looks at him with a gentle, happy smile, telling him how wonderful this is. Her master's face is radiant with relief, grateful that they finally believed him. He pulls back slightly, gently patting her on the back in a shared moment of victory. The path leads to the location of the exchange, a simple signpost marking the way. The girl narrates that her own hometown was chosen, a place with little direct knowledge of demons. The human villagers murmur with nervous curiosity, wondering what demons are really like. A heavy cart rumbles toward them, carrying the demons along a normally restricted route. Her master stands at the front of the cart, waving cheerfully to the assembled humans. His smile is one of pure, unadulterated triumph, his dream finally realized. The girl spots him in the crowd, her face lighting up as she sees her master arrive. In a horrific instant, her master's hand erupts with corrosive light as he touches a human. The girl's eyes widen in terror as she whispers that with this, everything is over. A gaping, smoldering hole is blown through her master's chest as his body disintegrates. The girl can only watch as he collapses, his body hitting the ground with a sickening thud. The demons look on, their trust shattered as he falls lifelessly before them. The face of the demon man from the village twists into a mask of pure rage. He lets out a furious roar, his voice filled with betrayal and hatred. The human villagers watch in horror as the peaceful exchange becomes a massacre. The enraged demons fall upon the terrified humans, unleashing a wave of slaughter. The girl stands frozen amidst the carnage, surrounded by the bodies of the fallen. Her eyes are wide with shock as she questions why this terrible tragedy is happening. An armored man desperately yells at her to run away from the chaos. Her voice cracks as she pleads for someone to believe her, that she would never cause harm. She collapses face down in the dirt, her spirit completely broken. An armored figure walks away, leaving her abandoned in her despair. Lying in the dirt, a single tear falls as she lets out a hollow, bitter laugh. Her hope is extinguished as she whispers about what little there is left to believe in. Years later, the story moves to the Grand Royal capital. The girl, now a young woman in a witch's hat, sits on a rooftop reminiscing. She reflects on how she tried to forget the past and simply live on. Her memory drifts to a young hero, Krill, who spoke of defeating the demon lord. The thought of him fills her with a sharp, determined anger. She clutches a piece of paper, seeing it as her hard-won chance for revenge. She dismisses the idea that her fate is merely the work of some god. In a memory, she is seen walking away from a younger girl, her path a solitary one. A montage of the past horror flashes behind her as she identifies the one who killed her master. She stands resolutely, her hand clutching the flyer that holds her new purpose. The flyer announces the grand opening of a casino in Valmon, run by QG Valmon. Her eyes narrow with hatred as she vows to get back what was taken from her. The scene shifts to Krill's party, who are resting in a field near a village. A title page shows Krill kneeling before a small, hooded girl named Kururu. Their training begins at the ominous entrance to the Cave of Trials. Krill orders Kururu to cast strengthening magic on a small goblin-like monster. Kururu obeys, her hands glowing as she channels her power into the creature. The moment the spell takes effect, Krill punches the monster, sending it flying. Another member of their party, a martial artist, furiously demands an explanation for his actions. Krill then strikes the martial artist, explaining that it's a demonstration. The small monster asks Krill what on earth he is trying to teach them. Krill explains that strengthening magic is useless against a vastly superior opponent. He looks on with a grim expression, stating that this is not the most important lesson. He recalls his own battle against a formidable level 103 berserk mage. A dark-haired young man, Alice, argues that Krill's situation was different, as he had no equipment. Krill counters that fighting at a disadvantage yields more experience and teaches crucial lessons. He tells them to fight without fear, as he will be there to save them if needed. The memory shows Krill's eyes burning with intense focus as he faces the mage. With a fierce battle cry, he charges forward, his body a blur of motion. He unleashes a powerful punch that connects squarely with the formidable enemy. He looks back with a confident grin, asking if they understand his methods. The berserk mage, stunned but not defeated, glares back with a malicious smile. The mage retaliates with a powerful blast of its own magic. Krill explains that one must fight without letting their guard down in such an away game. After the battle, a battered Krill sits as Kururu gently tends to his wounds. Alice encourages Kururu, telling her she can grow stronger little by little. Their rest is interrupted by the arrival of the impeccably dressed Devitt. Devitt patronizingly tells Kururu that a sage's role is not on the front lines. Kururu looks up, a hint of annoyance in her eyes at his condescending tone. Devitt continues, warning that such dangerous battles will only lead to her suffering. She retorts that Krill is even weaker than she is, as a simple villager. Krill, flustered, tells Kururu she's a girl and he doesn't want her to get hurt. He immediately follows this up with a bizarre flying kick at the monster. The blonde warrior, Rex, furiously grabs a creature, demanding to know why it treats him differently, asserting he is a man. From the side, Kagami watches the scene, a single tear escaping his eye. Unleashing a barrage of strikes, Rex bellows that he will now show his true strength. With a thoughtful expression, Kagami observes the hero's desperate and powerful efforts. He understands Rex's immense pressure, thinking the hero carries a very heavy burden. Kagami's thoughts turn to the hero, considering the many responsibilities he must shoulder. He startles Kururu by asking if she is capable of performing a certain task. Kururu explains to Kagami that she's only gained 3 levels since starting at level 42. Walking ahead, Kagami calmly advises her not to be reckless or rush her training. While Rex grits his teeth, Kagami insists he is seriously considering how to help her level up. Kururu tearfully pleads for him to oversee her training all the way to level 200. Utterly stunned by her request, Kagami stammers in disbelief at the impossibly high level. She grabs his arm, demanding to know why he is suddenly averting his gaze from her. A battered Rex collapses, desperately calling for Kururu's healing magic as Alice panics. Rushing to his side, Kururu apologizes profusely for the injuries Rex sustained in training. The well-dressed David smugly observes that Kagami's skill with women is still quite lacking. His gaze turns analytical as he wonders how Kagami achieved such strength at his age. Kagami reflects somberly, admitting his long and complicated journey to become stronger. He begins to explain his complicated past, recalling the many things that happened on his journey. His quest began with a simple motivation: earning money by defeating monsters. David expresses his relief, stating he couldn't entrust Kururu to someone motivated only by money. Kagami jokes that few villagers get strong for money, but David dismisses his point. A small illustration clarifies that for some villagers, leveling up is purely for financial gain. David explains to Alice that seeking stronger monsters is a reliable way to earn more money. The brutal logic of the world clicks into place, her eyes widening with shocking realization. David adds that rare monsters drop large sums of money, irrespective of their level. Intrigued by this, Kagami asks Alice if she knows the habitats of rare monsters. Her face falls into a sad expression as she apologizes, claiming she does not know. But a pained look flashes in her eye, revealing her denial is a lie. Her mind flashes to a terrifying dragon, a beast whose power rivals the demon lord. Even so, she wonders how much money one could possibly earn for defeating it. Kagami asks her what's wrong, but she quickly dismisses his concern as nothing. Troubled, he reflects that with monster hunting alone not being enough, he had to open a casino. In a desolate landscape, Kagami confronts David, asking if the casino preparations are truly complete. David, with a smug and confident smile, assures him that everything is perfectly in order. He explains that becoming an attendant has been beneficial, as observing Kagami is part of his job. A quiet transitional moment hangs in the air, hinting at a shift in the conversation. Kagami expresses his sincere gratitude, admitting he couldn't have managed the work without David. He confesses his initial belief that David was a dangerous character, but now knows his help was essential. David deflects the praise, instead remarking on how magnificent their colleague Takako has been. He lauds Takako as a natural leader who has earned the deep trust of the staff. David then drops a bombshell, revealing that the formidable Takako is actually a woman. Utterly stunned, Kagami weakly mentions Takako's pink clothes in his immense confusion. The shocking revelation sends him reeling backward, as if struck by a physical blow. David's expression turns serious, warning Kagami that if Takako finds out, he must accept her. He describes the constant harassment Takako endures from female patrons who mistake her for a man. A stone-faced Takako appears in Kagami's mind, her stoicism misinterpreted as a form of courtship. Kururu notices Kagami's panicked expression, while he frets about needing to find a wife. With fierce determination, Kururu declares that Kagami has her, so he shouldn't worry. Kagami looks at her, mentioning something about being alone in 10 years, causing her confusion. Alice misunderstands, furiously accusing Kagami of planning to marry a much older Kururu. Kagami tries to explain his fear of David, but his words are lost in the chaos. Alice continues her tirade, pointing out Kagami will be in his 30s, and she's not for sale. The demon princess screams her refusal, rejecting the absurd, misunderstood proposal entirely. Kururu cuts through the noise, shouting that she doesn't care, and it's no good. A disembodied hand reaches from the ground, whispering Kururu's name in a moment of despair. The group stands at the entrance to a dark ruined cave, the tension palpable. After a battle, Rex slumps to the ground, panting that he somehow defeated their foe. He laments that his spirit is broken, and Kururu nearly broke his heart, receiving an apology. Alice approaches Rex with an apology, as Kagami tells him not to worry. Kagami asks Rex if he really brought a healing potion directly to his mouth. Kururu watches them, sadly thinking that when it matters, she can't protect anyone. Rex, touched by the camaraderie, thanks Kagami, who looks flustered by the attention. Breaking the moment, Rex asks Kagami how much experience he gained from the fight. As Kagami checks his status, a small Alice is perched on his head and he freezes. His eyes widen in utter disbelief as he exclaims at the immense amount of experience. With a confident smile, the young man admits his training methods yield great rewards. His blonde companion acknowledges the rapid progress, but notes the deadly pace is unsustainable. The young man explains that his own auto-recovery skill is what allows him to endure. He adds that Kururu will eventually need to face stronger opponents without his support. The blonde man Rex agrees, stating that if they die, the training is pointless. A close-up of Rex's eyes shows him in a moment of quiet contemplation. Rex startles his friend by suddenly asking when he acquired his auto-recovery skill. The young man reveals it was his very first skill, learned at level 100. His companion muses that he wishes he possessed such a useful ability himself. The dark-haired man explains his skill is a super rare anomaly, causing him to learn strange abilities. A sudden thought strikes Rex as he recalls something his friend taught him. He remembers the three powerful skills: Auto-Revive, Limit Release, and Challenger of God. Rex confirms that his friend has taught him 3 skills so far. His curiosity piqued, he asks what other abilities the man possesses. The young man declares that he has no intention of hiding them any longer. He looks over his shoulder, questioning if his unusual skills are truly normal. His companions watch intently as he prepares to reveal his secrets. A close-up on his eyes shows he is aware of their focused attention. He asks Rex if he is truly prepared to learn about all his skills. The desolate, rocky landscape sets a somber mood for the impending revelation. A title page for Chapter 20 shows the group posing amidst the ruins. Scratching his head, the young man looks flustered but resolved to continue. With a sigh of resignation, he agrees that there's no other choice. He turns to his waiting companions, ready to begin his explanation. A trio of cloaked, frog-like monsters suddenly emerges from a nearby cave. With perfect timing, the young man drops to the ground, startling his friends. He tells a bewildered Rex that it's faster to show him than to explain. Lying on his side, he instructs his companions to watch him closely. With a flick of his wrist, he sends a single coin spinning into the air. The coin intercepts a monster's spear, shattering the weapon and deflecting the blow. The coin arcs perfectly back into his hand as his companions watch, stunned. He calmly announces that this single action utilized 5 of his remaining 7 skills. The young mage Kururu stares in utter shock, unable to process what she saw. A baffled young man questions an agitated cloaked monster, asking where its 5 skills were. Confronting Rex's confusion, Kagami offers a hint, preparing to flick a single coin. The coin zips through the air, deflecting an attacking monster's spear with a sharp clang. Utterly bewildered, Rex admits he still has no idea what just happened. Kagami playfully holds a blank card to his face, teasing his companion's cluelessness. Standing before his party, Kagami presents a long, official-looking list of his many skills. Kururu squints at the list, confused by the sheer number of finger skills. He clarifies that his truly powerful skills are separate from this bizarre finger series. With a mischievous look, Kagami warns them not to get their hopes up. The group reacts with synchronized shock as the super finger skill is revealed. Rex asks how much stronger the skill makes him. Kagami explains it's like having the power of 2 fingers. He then announces that he will now show them the next skills in sequence. His expression becomes somber as he lists the progression of his finger abilities. The party watches silently, their expressions a mixture of confusion and dawning comprehension. Kagami quietly asks if they can imagine his feelings after training these skills to level 9,000. Kururu suddenly realizes this was how he managed to flick a rock at a slime. She notes that his feat of flicking a rock while sleeping was perfectly accurate. Kagami's face twists with bitterness as he asks if his skills aren't just crap. Kururu, moved to tears, asks about his other, more impressive-sounding skills from level 7,000. Trying to be encouraging, she gives him a thumbs up, exclaiming that his efforts paid off. He demonstrates a skill whose only effect is having a cool name, then collapses in despair. Grimly, Kagami states that this was the moment his spirit was most thoroughly broken. He explains the crippling reverse skill, which makes him weaker as he levels up. Kururu understands now why he couldn't use powerful magic like Charge Blow. He reveals he acquired this debilitating skill at the incredibly high level of 8,000. Kagami laments having an ability that actively grows weaker the stronger he becomes. By level 9,999, he explains, he had almost no magical power left to use. Rex erupts with manic energy, exclaiming how amazing it is to defeat monsters with just a finger flick. He wonders why Kagami can't use other skills, while Kagami questions his own narrow specialization. Rex laments his own lack of useful skills, despite having great potential. Kagami looks at his friend with envy, acknowledging that Rex possesses dreams and possibilities. He muses that Rex's skills are the kind that require ingenuity and creativity to master. Kururu wonders aloud if Kagami is being creative with his own strange abilities. From a distance, she calls out his name, breaking through his somber introspection. A flustered Takako stands over a defeated foe, explaining he has been searching for Takako-chan. A large, muscular man is startled, first thinking it's a new monster before deciding to discipline it. Alice asks Takako why he is in such a hurry, and he tells her to ask David about the trouble. The muscular man looks on, surprised to hear David's name mentioned. In a rocky landscape, a voice wonders aloud, "Takako-sama?" A moment of transition passes. The scene settles on a desolate rocky cave entrance. David calmly explains to a stressed Takako that they are short on a certain product for the casino. Takako admits to Kagami that he forgot to order the high-quality alcohol they needed for the bar. Kagami thoughtfully considers that to attract nobles, they can't simply serve cheap drinks. Takako apologizes profusely to Kagami for his oversight. Kagami reassures the distraught Takako, telling him it's fine and they can handle it after the opening. Alice, having listened to their exchange, interjects, telling them to wait. Pointing to a distant road, David explains it's a route for carts transporting Salmeria liquor. He suggests they might secure a supply by negotiating directly with the merchants there. Kagami's eyes sharpen, realizing merchants often sell their leftover high-grade liquor on expeditions. David, impressed, asks how Kagami could have known that. Kagami is caught off guard, but David chuckles, revealing he also did research for such a possibility. Alice encourages David to go, and he agrees, though it's uncertain if Kururu will be there. As they depart, Kagami watches with suspicion, sensing David has another objective. A close-up on Kagami's eye reveals his deep suspicion about David's true motives concerning Kururu. Alice happily expresses her gratitude that David has gone to help them. Kagami offers a non-committal response to her cheerful statement. David drapes an arm over Takako's shoulders, a gesture described as him checking things out. The two men proceed towards a large, imposing stone archway in the distance. On opening day, a massive casino sign looms as a bunny girl welcomes the public. A jubilant crowd surges forward, greeted by the casino's enthusiastic bunny girl staff. Inside, Kagami remarks on the huge number of customers, seeing it as a lively start. Alice, in a bunny costume, confesses the outfit is embarrassing and asks if he thinks it suits her. A close-up on her face shows her distress as she recalls the terrible ordeal of getting dressed. A flashback reveals Takako and Kururu enthusiastically forcing a reluctant Alice into the costume. Kagami gently pats her head, reassuring her that she looks cute and it's fine. Alice gazes at Kagami with a soft, content expression as they walk through the casino. Walking away together, Kagami reflects that for a moment, he wasn't sure how things would turn out. Thanks to the cooperation of the charismatic David, their plan was set in motion. A flashback shows the entire team, exhausted from sleepless nights of preparing menus and training staff. Against all odds, they successfully managed to complete the casino for its grand opening. Kagami smiles, glad that even he can earn money this way, and decides to check on the opening. Standing by a tree, he remarks to Alice that it's been a while since they were alone together. The quiet moment passes as they head inside. Kagami looks around the bustling interior with awe and excitement. The casino floor is filled with patrons trying their luck at various games. One group of men remarks on the lively atmosphere, stating this is what a real casino feels like. Suddenly, Alice spots a familiar figure and calls out Kagami's name in surprise. She points out that the long-haired, top-hatted Manu is also here. With a happy smile, Alice calls out Manu's name to get her attention. Manu turns, her face gaunt and terrifying from overwork. Murmuring that she hears Alice's voice, the haggard woman staggers forward, wondering if she has been pushed too hard. Alice, clutching a stuffed rabbit, gushes over how lovely and beloved Manu is, hoping to heal her. Touched by the sentiment, Manu thanks her and encourages her to keep up the good work. As she stumbles away to find Takako, she weakly waves goodbye to Alice. Later, Alice finds the bar area completely empty. She wonders aloud if Takako is on a break. Tugging on Kagami's sleeve, Alice tries to get his attention. Kagami is frozen, staring at something off-panel with an expression of pure shock. Alice asks him what's wrong and what he's looking at as he stammers in reply. Flustered and speechless, Kagami can only look on as Alice stares in confusion. They find themselves before a door marked Takako's room, a place Kagami never knew existed. Alice looks up at him expectantly, asking if he's going to open it. With a deep blush and grim determination, Kagami prepares to force the door open. Inside, the hulking, muscular figure of Takako is seen posing and flexing dramatically. Kagami quickly slams the door shut, leaving Alice alone in the hallway. Utterly drained, he suggests they go eat, while Alice innocently asks what he saw. Their strange encounter is left behind as the scene transitions. The setting shifts to a view of a building's exterior balcony. On the balcony, the blonde hero, Rex, offers a warm welcome to an unseen guest. A serious man greets his master, the grinning Kagami, as a girl asks about Rex and Kururu. In a staff area, Rex, dressed as a waiter, explains he cannot let Kururu work publicly. His expression turns serious as he prepares to address a more important, unspoken topic. Meanwhile, Kagami complains about being interrupted while he and Alice look at a menu together. With an annoyed look, Kagami tries to get the waiter's attention with a sharp reprimand. Rex questions Kagami's rude attitude, reminding him he is a customer. Drooling with desire, Alice orders a difficult-to-make chocolate parfait. Kagami places his own order, his choice left unspoken. The scene transitions to a grand, empty hall within the establishment. After their meal, Kagami happily remarks on how delicious it was, patting his stomach. Alice suddenly remembers something, turning her attention to Kagami. She asks what Tina is doing here, with Kagami explaining that Tina is a cleric. Kagami gets an idea, wanting to give Tina some proper work to do. He calls out to Tina, who is sweeping the long, empty hall. Tina stops her work, looking back at him with a serious expression. Alice, shocked, realizes Kagami has even built a chapel inside the casino. She points out that the town already has a church everyone goes to. Kagami, undeterred, suggests they offer sermons or theological guidance to make the chapel useful. He adds that there's even a confessional where a priest would normally hear confessions. He proposes they turn it into a counseling service for gamblers who have lost money. He compliments Tina on being a good listener, though she seems to disagree. Kagami insists that, compared to Takako, Tina is much easier to talk to. Enthusiastically, Kagami suggests they give the counseling service a try. Tina looks on, her expression one of deep reluctance and annoyance. She lets out a weary sigh, clearly unenthusiastic about his plan. Kneeling before the confessional, Kagami asks Tina what his troubles are. Tina sighs, addressing him as a lost lamb and telling him to confess his worries. He admits that he left the management of his own casino to others. Consequently, he has an uneasy feeling about a mysterious place called Takako's room. He asks her what he should do about this troubling situation. Tina's only advice is for him to simply live strongly. Later, Kagami and Alice peek into a room labeled Break Room. Inside, they find David and Kururu fawning over Alice in a new dress. The two gush over how adorable Alice is in her new frilly outfit. Kururu, moved to tears, wonders who gave Alice the stuffed rabbit she's holding. Kagami, watching from the door, gives a silent, good job to Alice. Kururu gives Alice a tight hug, calling her cute over and over. David's demeanor turns serious, reminding Kururu that it's time to return. Kururu begs for more time, prompting the small Alice to think of David as a traitor. The two women decide Alice needs another change of clothes and lead her away. David watches them go, a thoughtful, calculating look on his face. He turns to Kururu, remarking that her atmosphere has changed significantly. Kururu asks if it's because of Alice's special charm, then insists she herself is unchanged. David, however, seems to disagree with her assessment. Kururu reflects that her encounters with various people, including Kagami, have changed her. The small Alice listens to this, a confused expression on her face. Kururu realizes with a jolt that she agrees with David's observation. She explains that she now looks into people's eyes, no longer asking pointless questions. With a warm smile, she tells Alice that she has become a very important person to her. The small Alice, touched, smiles and says that she might be the one to say it, but Kururu firmly disagrees with whatever Alice was about to say. Tears well in Kururu's eyes as she tells Alice how happy she is to hear that. Kagami, watching this, wonders if he too has changed in some way. The small Alice cries, remembering she was taught she would have to kill good people. It was the way the world was structured, a natural, unavoidable truth. She thinks of Kagami, fighting to protect everyone, human and demon alike. She realizes she must think for herself and forge her own path forward. David remarks that people change through experience, and not changing is what's strange. He notes that the Kururu of the past had a much more tense, duty-bound expression. He wonders if she is now walking a different path entirely. The small Alice asks why it's so strange that Kururu has changed. David explains that encounters change people, for better or for worse. Alice points at him, declaring that he is also changing because of his meeting with her. Flustered, David makes a hasty excuse about needing to pick up a delivery. He dashes away, promising to return shortly, leaving the others behind. The two Kururus decide to change Alice's clothes again, much to her dismay. After he leaves, Alice notices he has forgotten his gloves on the ground. She spots the forgotten item, wondering what it is. Realizing David left his gloves behind, she decides to return them. She runs off, calling out that she will deliver them, leaving the Kururus behind. The blonde Kururu watches her go, clutching her stuffed rabbit. The scene fades, marking the passage of time. Alice searches the grounds, worried because she cannot find David anywhere. She continues her search, unable to locate him among the other staff. She worries that if she doesn't hurry, they will miss each other. Peeking around a corner, she prepares to call out to him. In a courtyard, she finally spots David talking with another man. David turns, hearing his name being called from a distance. Alice runs towards him, calling out to him again. As she runs, her foot catches on a loose stone in the path. She lets out a scream as she begins to fall forward. David's eyes widen in alarm as he sees her about to fall. In a flash, he moves and catches her just before she hits the ground. The impact of the catch knocks her hat from her head. The hat, which concealed her demonic nature, tumbles to the ground. David stares down, his face cast in shadow, his gaze fixed on her. Alice looks up in sheer terror, her horn now completely exposed. The new chapter begins, titled, I Have a Dream. Alice stares in horror, a single tear tracing a path from her eye. On the ground, she panics, realizing her secret has been revealed. David looks down at her horn, calmly remarking on the wonderful accessory. He smiles, asking if it was a present from a Kagami-sama. Alice confirms that Kagami made it for her, and David reaches for the cloth. He states that such a precious item must be handled with care. To her astonishment, he begins to expertly retie the cloth around her head. He politely offers his assistance with a calm, professional smile. The scene is set in a simple courtyard near a building's drain pipe. He finishes with a flourish, creating a perfect bow and complimenting her. He then excuses himself to return to his duties, leaving a stunned Alice behind. As he walks away, Alice calls out to him, still uncertain. He offers her the gloves she came to return, his kindness deeply unsettling her. David politely acknowledges her thanks, saying he went out of his way to deliver the item. With a final farewell, he turns and begins to walk away from the young girl. Alice looks up in surprise, letting out a small, questioning sound as he departs. Clenching her small fist, she quietly wonders why he would have helped her. Her hand tightens as the confusing question of his motives echoes in her mind. As David waves from the garden, Alice offers him a heartfelt thank you for his kindness. An imposing stone building stands against the sky, its windows watching over the garden. The scene fades into a grainy texture, marking the passage of time. Kururu peeks into the casino's break room, sensing the tense atmosphere within. Menu furiously shouts, "This is no time for idle talk," as Kagami tries calming her. Kagami attempts to soothe Menu, understanding her anxiety, but noting nothing is decided yet. Alice fears that disappearing now would only make her look more suspicious. Rex, startled by the commotion, asks what has happened to cause such a panic. Menu, frantic with worry, exclaims how concerned she was for Alice when she disappeared. Menu expresses her relief that Alice is safe, asking if she just delivered David's gloves. Grabbing her arm, Menu frantically begs Alice to run away with her to a distant land. Menu insists this is no time for leisurely conversation, her face flushed with urgency. Kagami calmly tells Menu to settle down, explaining that Alice doesn't know the situation. Rex agrees with Kagami's assessment, his shoulders slumping slightly in resignation. The entire group stands in somber silence, Rex offering a quiet apology for the trouble. Rex considers Menu's story, conceding that if it's true, their situation is dire. He points out that if Menu and Alice's identities are revealed, it's over for them. Alice shouts with frustration, demanding to be told what is happening to her. Rex looks down at the distraught girl, a quiet puff of air escaping his lips. He begins to explain that Menu witnessed David speaking with a royal official. Alice's eyes widen in shock, questioning David's involvement in the crisis. Menu recounts seeing David meeting the spy, disguised as casino staff near the warehouse. Rex asks if she is certain, and Menu confirms there is no mistake. The contents of the spy's letter are revealed, a report for the king. Rex analyzes the report, noting the troubling implication of the phrase "in transit." The entire party looks on with concern as Rex scratches his head in thought. He realizes David's role as an attendant was just a cover for constant surveillance. The only reason for such close observation must be something significant. Rex deduces that the surveillance isn't just for Kururu, but for Alice as well. Kururu confirms they have been spending a lot of time with David lately. Rex wonders why the kingdom is so suspicious of their small group. His eyes narrow as he considers the terrifying possibility that they already know everything. However, Rex expresses his doubt that David is secretly reporting on him to the kingdom. Alice wonders if David is simply monitoring Kururu as part of his normal duties. Rex turns to her, his expression sharp, and asks why she would think that. Alice looks down, a quiet, knowing expression on her face as she hesitates. She reveals that just a short while ago, David saw her horn. Minnow panics, realizing David said nothing, acting as if he already knew her secret. She screams that they must run away immediately as Kagami tries to calm her. Rex frantically questions Menu's assumption, asking if she heard David report no suspicious activity. He argues that it's strange for David to know Alice is a demon and say nothing. Manu insists he's feigning ignorance and will soon report Alice as a demon. Rex falls silent, his hand to his chin as he considers the grim possibilities. He voices a new theory. There's a possibility David is actually protecting them. Manu asks why the kingdom would go to such lengths to protect them. Rex concedes that her point is valid, as Manu looks on with suspicion. Alice gazes forward, her expression serious and thoughtful as she absorbs the new theory. Rex looks down at the blushing, worried Alice, pondering what to do. A confident smile spreads across his face as he formulates a bold plan. He declares that if they are being watched, they will watch their watchers back. Rex lays out his risky plan, telling them to trust David for now. Alice's face breaks into a wide, happy smile, her faith in him restored. Manu watches them, her expression sharp and calculating as she considers the gambit. Rex explains the plan to Kagami and the others, who agree with his decision. Alice volunteers to be the one to primarily monitor David's actions. The group shares a relieved laugh, glad the week passed without David exposing them. However, a new problem looms on the horizon, casting a shadow over their relief. Before they can rest, a new issue has already arisen to plague them. Rex clutches his collar in panic, lamenting their overwhelmingly insufficient casino sales. A new chapter begins, showing Rex and Alice sitting peacefully on a rooftop. Rex panics, realizing that despite many customers, their sales are not enough to cover costs. His eyes widen in terror, shouting that their earnings are not nearly enough. A staff member notes that their clientele of commoners simply cannot bet very much. The staff laments that the wealthy nobles who could have saved them haven't returned. Another employee sighs that it's no surprise their income is so unstable. The very nature of a casino means that daily sales are inherently unstable. Rex is chided for not being in the red and told he should thank David. Kururu adds that if things had gone differently, the casino would have been better off. David announces a grand plan to give away free chips to all casino patrons. Rex worries that this plan could result in a huge financial loss for them. He looks toward David, realizing that this was likely his intention all along. David admits he never expected the nobles to be so swayed by the commoners. Rex apologizes for his misjudgment, but David waves it off, saying it was his fault. He laments that if things had gone differently, he would build a VIP room. Kururu coolly observes that Rex's pride is simply too high to act pragmatically. Rex is surprised that even a princess like Kururu would think that way. She passionately declares this is a country of the people who must always be considered. Rex is impressed by her ability to speak so frankly to the nobles. Kururu apologizes for her outburst, but Rex smiles, understanding her passion. David dismisses the idea of a VIP room, saying it's no longer a consideration. He muses that even if they built it, there's no guarantee of increased sales. Rex insists he must be the one to defeat the monsters to earn money. He wonders aloud where he can possibly earn the vast sum of money they need. David's expression turns serious and calculating as he listens to Rex's dilemma. He leans in close, whispering a secretive and dangerous suggestion to Rex. David suggests asking Manu to mass-produce powerful Helgvelger monsters for profit. Rex recalls the colossal beast Manu rode, realizing it's a rare and valuable monster. He explains that while he considered it, the creature's specific spawn rock is unknown. He describes how monsters absorb magic from a spawn rock, which then vanishes. While new rocks form, the rare Helgvelger's specific rock is incredibly hard to find. A visual shows the group finding a rock, only for it to be the wrong one. A monster bursts from the rock, which then shatters, its purpose fulfilled. The group stands over a defeated monster, lamenting the need to search for another rock. Rex and David explain to a worried Alice that this method is highly inefficient. A panicked Alice turns to Kagami, repeatedly calling his name in a secretive whisper. With a sudden shift in demeanor, Kagami asks the trembling Alice what's wrong. Hesitantly, Alice begins to speak, her gloved hands pressed to her face. Behind her, a vision of a fearsome dragon appears as she asks about it. Kagami recalls legends of a monster as strong as the demon lord himself. He remembers it being described as a phantom-like being in ancient texts. Another party member immediately wonders how much money defeating it would bring. Kagami muses that if it's the strongest, the reward would be immense. Alice seriously asks what would happen if they could actually meet it. Shocked, Kagami asks if she knows where to find such a creature. She confirms that if given a map, she can point out the general area. Back at the table, Kagami suspects Manu might know even more details. His eyes narrow with suspicion as a new risky plan begins to form. He puts an arm around Alice, suggesting they go to the restroom for privacy. The scene transitions to a quiet, secluded space for their talk. In a back alley, Alice admits she knows the location but is suspicious. Kagami asks what she means and she explains there are many strange details. She reveals she learned of it in the Demon Lord's personal library. He is stunned, asking why the Demon Lord would tell her about it. She explains that the Demon Lord strictly forbade her from ever going there. She only ever checked from afar to ensure the seal remained undisturbed. Despite knowing the area, Kagami has never heard of such a dungeon. He asks why she is telling him this now, putting his hands behind his head. Alice warns him to leave it alone, detailing the dragon's unpredictable power. He dismissively says he understands, which only frustrates her further. She explodes with anger, shouting that he doesn't understand at all. With fierce intensity, she insists the dragon's power rivals the Demon Lord's. Her voice softens, expressing her gratitude, but also her fear for him. She admits that while she's grateful for his help, it's a problem if he dies. Her genuine concern for his safety leaves Kagami utterly speechless. Alice turns away, her expression a mix of frustration and worry. A small, genuine smile touches Kagami's lips, happy to hear her words. He soberly states their goal of coexistence requires a large sum of money. Without 10,000 gold, he reasons, war will inevitably start again. Alice looks on with a worried, pained expression, understanding the stakes. Kagami wonders if there's another way, but Alice remains pensive. He decides they have no time to search with only a year left. He also admits his own curiosity about the legendary creature. He declares that he will go, and Menu will accompany him. Kagami shocks Menu by stating he will leave Kururu behind. He reasons that being seen with just Menu will create misdirection. With a grin, he explains that only they know the location. Menu furiously objects, calling his plan a bad joke. Defeated, she realizes she cannot sway him from his reckless decision. Back at the casino, Kagami puts on a theatrical performance for the others. A fade transitions the scene back to the casino's main room. A close-up on the casino door sets the stage for the discussion. He laments their lack of funds, calling 10,000 gold a distant dream. David suggests a new VIP room, but admits there's no guarantee of success. Kagami declares that he and Manu will go earn the money in a dungeon. Rex objects fiercely, insisting that he will go as well. Kururu also volunteers, making it a condition of her training. Kagami looks flustered, stating he can't take them as it's too dangerous. Meno pats Rex's shoulder, reminding him of her superior strength. Alice still looks worried, trying to protest the dangerous decision. Kagami pats her head, asking her to help at the casino instead. She looks up at him, her expression a mix of concern and resignation. A transition panel darkens, moving the story forward. At Varma's gate, Alice asks if Kagami remembered to bring his toothbrush. Rex panics, pointing out their severe lack of food and potions. He screams that their meager supplies are not nearly enough for the journey. He grabs Kagami, shaking him and tossing supplies from the pack in frustration. Rex demands to know why Manu has no weapons. She says she has magic. Kagami tells a frantic Rex to simply come back in a month if he's not back. David remarks that it's only natural for a leader to see them off. He assures Kagami the casino will be fine without him. Kagami laments that his absence won't have an impact, questioning his leadership. David speaks about the importance of making firm decisions as a leader. He reminds Kagami that this is another one of those critical times. Kagami smiles, a new resolve forming on his face. Alice quietly calls out Kagami's name, getting his attention. She asks if there's anything she can do for him while he's away. Kagami looks at her, considering her earnest question. He gently pats her head, asking if she's been staying well. Alice points out that his question is not making any sense. He explains with deep affection that he is who he is because of her. Alice warns that if something happens to him, she'll lose all motivation. She quietly accepts his words, understanding his reasoning. With a sigh of resignation, Kagami says it can't be helped. The formal maid Takako approaches and asks what the matter is. Kagami explains that he has a favor to ask her. He needs her to look after Alice while he is away on his quest. He formally entrusts the young girl to her care. Takako listens with a serious professional expression, her head bowed slightly. She formally accepts the responsibility, stating it is her honor. Kagami feels a wave of relief, knowing Alice will be safe. Alice looks on, surprised that he made such arrangements for her. With everything settled, Kagami prepares to leave the city. He raises a hand in farewell, shouting that he's off to his companions. David observes Alice, noting that she seems quite dissatisfied with the arrangement. Alice wonders if she can be useful to Kagami like the others. David firmly refutes her self-doubt, telling her that's not the case. He explains that Kagami's existence is her strength and vice versa. Alice stands quietly, processing his profound words. David explains that simply supporting Kagami isn't a useful method for therapy. He elaborates on his own role, suggesting strategies Kagami hasn't considered. He explains this guidance is one way to provide tangible support. He begins to offer a hypothetical example to illustrate his point. Alice pictures herself as an energetic shopkeeper, grasping the metaphor. David bellows with passion, declaring that his weapon is his love of weaponry. He advises her to find a way to maximize her own unique abilities. A whimsical thought shows Alice striving to be as strong as her esteemed companions. Her eye widens with dawning realization, questioning her current approach to being useful. The epiphany hits her fully as she clenches her fists, resolving to become helpful. Standing before Alice, David advises her to increase her skills through dedicated effort. David offers his full support, a knowing smile on his face as he promises to help. Spinning around, Alice bows deeply to David, expressing her profound gratitude for his counsel. Her face becomes a mask of absolute resolve, her gaze fixed as she begins to speak. The small girl with the bow urgently calls out Kururu's name, getting her attention. Surprised by the sudden call, Kururu turns around and asks what the matter is. A dramatic close-up on Alice's eye reveals the fire of her new purpose. With fierce determination, she makes her bold demand, asking Kururu to teach her magic. The entire group stares back, their faces a collective mask of utter, speechless shock.